buying as much as 75 to 100 petajoules. That's the new word of the day, hey? Do you know what a petajoule is, Mdanam? Petajoules of liquefied natural gas. It's essentially a very, very big number to calculate the quantity or amount of energy. It's 1 petajoule is equal, right, to 10 to the power of 15 joules. It's such an astronomical number that my little brain can't work it out. 1 petajoule is equivalent to 278 gigawatt hours of power, right? As a unit of energy, it's what, Mateo? 1 million?
1 million billion joules.
1 million billion joules. But we offer to buy 75 to 100 over a 10-year period. This was one of the things we said, okay, give us your natural gas. That's what we'll use for energy. And even that seems to have not been enough. So our focus, of course, is not going to be on petajoules. I just want you to know that we know what petajoules are because we are that kind of show. We start off with Dr. Terence McNamee, who is going to be telling us, what did we miss in this conversation? Did we read the room? Because for months we've been told, no, there's a plan, we are negotiating, we're working furiously, we've got influence in Washington, our friends are batting for us, this administration will listen. And of course, there was that crucial moment when President Ramaphosa and his entourage were in the Oval Office. Did that yield any results, and why did it not? And then to answer some of those questions, I'm really pleased to tell you we've got the man himself, the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Park Stawa. We're going to talk about this trade deal, but also we're going to talk about particularly the ANC's thinking around how this economy ought to grow. And I'm going to put to him some of the criticisms in terms of just the philosophical outlook of this government. So it's going to be a cerebral conversation, I'm hoping, and I hope it will yield some information and context as to how we find ourselves here.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Of course, yesterday I said to you, if you're interested even remotely in the law, well, it was going to be fireworks at the Constitutional Court, and that may even have been an understatement. I found it absolutely fascinating, the two arguments being made by the two presidents, right? We said yesterday it's the battle of the presidents. And I said about a week ago when it emerged that MKP and, of course, Jacob Zuma were taking this president, Cyril Ramaphosa, to the Constitutional Court because they wanted the setting aside of the appointment of an acting police minister and, of course, that judicial commission of inquiry looking into the allegations made by Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. I said, you dismiss Jacob Zuma as a nuisance litigant at your own peril, right? So I'm going to play you some of the clips, some of the exchanges that were fiery and really just fascinating to listen to at the Constitutional Court yesterday. But as we do so, to illustrate one or 2 points, here's a question for you, and Amo and Muteo, you can weigh in on it. What makes for you, what makes a good listener? What makes a bad listener? And which one are you? I'll go first. I can be a bad listener. I like to believe I'm not always. I would like to believe I'm not even most of the time a bad listener, but I can be. And this happens to me in a scenario where you are taking the roundabout way to get to a point I can already see you've made. Right? You're going to Timbuktu and Tokyo to come to a point that's right here at Alice Lane.
Does that not make you impatient?
I'm an impatient listener. I can be an impatient listener.
So you don't listen to respond. You're just an impatient listener.
Because I know where you're going. I know where you're going with this, which of course is rank hypocrisy, by the way, because in my line of work as a journalist, I'm a storyteller. And so often when I'm trying to explain something, I need you to have all the information. And it's probably been one of the number one criticism in all my relationships. I've been told to get to the point. But I'm like, no, but you need this fact and that fact to get the full picture, to get the full context. Get to the point. So I concede I'm not always a good listener. Are you, Mateo?
Yeah, I won't say I'm always a good listener. But I know someone's listening to me if they keep asking me questions about what I'm talking about or adding on to what I'm talking about. If I keep talking and you're just like, and then I know that, well, I've either lost you or you're not interested in what I'm saying. But when I talk about something, you should say, and what about that? Then I know then you're listening. But what I don't like is people that listen to respond. Won't even let you end the sentence. They just want to have a rebuttal, if you will. You know?
Okay, we get it, Bongani.
All right,
But
Amo, are you a good listener?
You know what will teach you to be a good listener and actually pay attention? It's children, because often they have these long stories.
Sweetie.
And they need you
Sweetie.
to focus, because you miss one point of the story, then they have to retell the story, and then it complicates the whole thing. So children will definitely teach you how to be a good listener.
Sweetie, I have a 16-year-old. You know, I told you about my friend Amu. Amu's the one who's also friends with Clive. Now, remember Clive used to be friends with Karabo, the guy who does the social media man. So, yay.
And then if you ask a weird question in between, they say, but I just told you who
Dad,
Amu
just
is.
listen. Dad, just listen. I'm getting there. Just listen, Dad. And I'm like, okay. Are you a good listener? Are you a bad listener? What does it take to be one or the other? Let us know.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
So lawyers representing former President Jacob Zuma dismissing President Cyril Ramaphosa's reasons for suspending the police minister as a fallacy that hasn't worked in the past. And I thought Dalimpofu had some compelling arguments when he was making his case yesterday. I'm not sure he's going to win on the issue of setting aside the Commission of Inquiry, the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. I don't think he's going to win on that one. But this issue of suspending a police minister and then having an acting, well, at the moment we've got an acting because the acting will start tomorrow. I think there might be some leeway there, but of course there's also the issue of whether the Constitutional Court should be the first point of call when it comes to all of this in the first instance. So we're keeping an eye on that fascinating case.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
Muteo Kharipa, you've got a question of your own?
Yeah, I want to know this morning, how good are you at sticking to your guns? Can you make a decision and it's made, and despite any form of criticism, you're willing to stand behind your decision?
Yes and no. Yes and no. There are decisions that you say, yep, I'm sticking to, but I'm always open to the possibility I may be wrong. I may, not even new information, but I'm always open to the possibility, especially when you're dealing with people. I'm a believer in second chances where warranted. And I'm not always comfortable with the idea of being a Judge Dredd, a Judge Judy. Do you know what I mean? Where there's no coming back from that. Where there will be considerations, I will think about it, but there are times where my decision is made, it's made.
Digging in your heels.
Yeah.
All right.
Depends.
Tell you why I'm asking.
Oh, gosh.
702.
Weather.
All right, I'm not going to dig in my heels and say, I'll tell you just what the weather will be like for this Thursday. A fine day for Gauteng. Temperatures in Joburg, 2 and 20. Pretoria, 3 and 21. 2 and 21 in Free-Enekeng. A cloudy day for Cape Town, a maximum of 16. East London, fine. You can expect afternoon and evening isolated showers. Temperatures maxing at 25. Your peak in Gqeberha is 16. Durban, 25 as well.
EWN traffic.
First look at those roads. Moramila, what are you seeing?
Well, we've got an accident in Germiston along the N3 North. It happened right near Van Buren Road. Delays coming out of the Elands interchange already. About a 15-minute hold up there. You might want to avoid this. You can still use the N17 and turn off at the N12 heading towards areas like Edenville and Linksfield. If you are traveling on the M1 North, bumper-to-bumper traffic already between Boyson's Road and Carr Street, while in China Mall, Mayfair, another accident reported. This one is on Main Reef Road. It happened just before Crownwood Road. It is causing heavy traffic volumes. Please be on the lookout and try to avoid. I'll have more updates for you, but if you see anything else, we're on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
To every 702 lander who laced up, showed up, and walked the talk with us this past Sunday, thank you. The 702 family loved every moment, walking, talking, connecting with you en route. And you made the 2025 702 Walk the Talk one for the books. And we can't wait to do it all again with you next year. So here's to you 702 landers, and here's to the 2025 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane.
Did you ever work in the UK? If you did for at least 3 years and you're under 67, you can get a guaranteed UK state pension worth up to 5 million rand over a typical retirement for just a small payment directly to UK revenue. Most people get 40 rand back for every rand they pay in. There's a big queue at UK revenue as this opportunity may end soon, so act fast. Call Extra Pension in Cape Town or see extrapension.com. Mind your UK pension and it'll mind you. Service fees apply.
Calling all golf pros. Hollywood Bets invites you to step onto the green. Tee up, take a swing, and enjoy glorious golf action from electrifying competitions and thrilling live tournaments. Get ready to conquer the fairway and chase epic fortunes. Ready to master the odds and experience your crowning moment? Bet now on all the excitement and prepare to make your hole-in-one shot to sensational success. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
Food Lovers Market is bringing you unbeatable deals this winter carnival. Save big on one 7 kg potato pocket and one 3 kg onion bag for 99 Rand per combo. Buy 3 1 kg tomato thrift packs for 50 Rand, 5 creamy avocados for 50 Rand, and 3 200-gram white button mushroom punnets for just 50 Rand. Valid until 3 August. Only at Food Lovers Market. Winter Carnival now on.
702 and Corporates That Care with Bata are talking about Bata Children's Program.
We've run school donations, volunteer days. We have about 82 people in our head office in KZN. They frequently go down to the Malvern Children's Home. The Malvern Children's Home is a home for orphans that we've adopted basically in the KZN region. We've assisted them with jungle gyms, water tanks, stationary libraries. We've built a library for them, as mentioned. Unfortunately, the Malvern Children's Home has a R1 million debt, water and electricity debt.
Sure.
So we've created a GoFundMe page, and a portion of the proceeds from our Mandela Day shoe sales will go towards this cause. So when corporates choose Toughies for their Mandela Day giving, they're not just buying the school shoes, they're helping children keep their home running.
From jungle gyms to school supplies and life-changing donations, Bata is building brighter futures. Visit bata.co.za to learn more. 702, let's walk the talk.
702,
Add your voice.
have your say.
Let's walk the talk.
Bongani, you can't be this presumptuous. You can't be saying that, I know where you're going. You know where you think I'm going, not where I'm going. How would you know? Because I haven't even started on my journey. Temba Vudla.
Listen, Temba, I get it. I get why you will feel that way, and you're absolutely valid. But again, if you've ever had to deal with a 15-year-old, you know exactly where they're going. Come on, you've been there. You know what I'm talking about.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa.
On 702, let's walk the talk.
25 after 6 is a busy week for the Constitutional Court. So, for example, today they'll finally deliver judgment in the long-running Please Call Me case between the inventor Nkosana Makate and Vodacom, last heard in November last year. But just yesterday, as we've been saying, President Cyril Ramaphosa told the court, this is one of the most interesting arguments that was made. This is now in this case with or against Jacob Zuma in the MKP. The president says, I can't dismiss ministers, say Senzo Mchunu, for example, right, without some process being concluded. That's why we're appointing a commission of inquiry to look into these allegations and to check whether or not they are true. Dalimpofu argues, what do you mean? We had a commission of inquiry into state capture. That commission of inquiry found against the same ministers you appointed. So are you saying that if the Madlanga Commission finds against some of your ministers, you're still going to keep them there anyway? The president's argument is that, but hang on, those ministers took that report under review. Hey? When will it end? It's fascinating, isn't it? President also welcoming moves by countries such as France to recognize Palestine as a state, saying the world can no longer ignore the genocide that is happening in Gaza. And I wonder, of course, if that is part of the reason we are not going to get that deal with Washington. And the Israeli minister Ziv Al-Krin warning yesterday that Israel may annex parts of Gaza to pressure Hamas, while Britain and France, of course, are threatening to recognize that Palestinian state unless a ceasefire is reached. Australia also making headlines, reversing an earlier promise to include YouTube in its new social media ban for children under 16 set to start in December. They say YouTube is addictive and its features expose children to harmful content like hate speech and dangerous challenges. And today we celebrate the actor Wesley Snipes, born on this day in 1962 in Orlando, Florida. He's a martial artist and film producer, best known for movies like Passenger 57, Money Train, and, of course, the Blade trilogy. A true Hollywood action star.
702.
The newspapers.
Visa Zulu, let's look at the newspapers. What you got?
Good morning. Quick one. Page 2 of The Citizen this morning is talking about American tech company Meta, the company that owns WhatsApp and Facebook and the likes. They could be in trouble again, and this time in Italy. Italy's antitrust authority is investigating Meta for potentially breaking European Union competition laws by instilling its AI tool into WhatsApp. Meta has that AI that some of us use as a friend and a proverbial shoulder to cry on. So on
I call
WhatsApp,
her Sis Meta.
Yes. So
Sis Meta says.
Antitrust authorities in Italy are not happy with that because they say that Meta is taking away from other AI developers because now you're so used to having an AI tool on your phone, therefore other developers
it makes
won't
it
get a
easier.
chance. And so
I don't have to go find Grok. I don't have to go find ChatGPT.
Yeah, but then there are that concern that it's harming competition.
Oh, gosh, can we go jump? Must worry about other issues in Italy. But let me not say I'll be taken to the BCCSA. The front page of the Business Day, Plan B to avert crisis. This is, of course, around the trade deal. We're speaking to Minister Park Stour as our big interview after 7 o'clock on the front page of the Sowetan. It's not Mnisi, so who was it? Mom of murdered teen left broken after red-faced NPA drops charges against Mduduzi Mnisi. And an expert says the withdrawal points to gaps in how evidence was verified and decisions made.
EWN Business.
Hotel wants to know, you make a decision, do you stick to your guns or do you change your mind when criticism comes along? What prompts the question?
Bongani, South African households will be hoping the South African Reserve Bank will block out all the tariff noise from this week and stick to its interest rate cutting cycle. The Monetary Policy Committee will vote on whether to cut rates by another 25 basis points when it concludes its meeting today. And there is a good case for those cuts. Inflation, although going up slightly in June, has remained within the Reserve Bank's 3 to 6% target range. In May, the SARB cut the benchmark repurchase rate at which it lends to banks by around 25 basis points to 7.25%. Now, it cited then global economic volatility and uncertainty, which were likely to dampen both global and domestic growth. Now, this was the fourth reduction in a series of 25 basis point interest rate cuts since September of 2024, only interrupted by a pause in March. Lower interest rates are known to encourage more borrowing and spending in the market, boosting consumer spending in the economy. The only dark cloud now hanging over the SARB's head is the looming 30% tariffs that come in on Friday and how much the central bank believes they'll affect the local economy and consumer prices. And it's the same question that U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell had to answer this week. In fact, yesterday, the U.S. Fed deciding to keep rates in the U.S. unchanged despite pressure from President Donald Trump to cut rates. It's held this particular position for about 8 months, not budging, saying we're not going to cut rates until we see how these higher tariffs will affect our consumers in our market. And it's the tough decision that has to be made by the SARB this afternoon.
I suspect they're going to keep things the same. I suspect. We'd love for them to lower it, but I suspect it's keeping it put.
Cut!
What are your thoughts?
Cut.
You think they'll cut?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Huh? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Where's the rand?
17 Rand 97 against the US dollar, 20 Rand 53 cents against the euro, and a 23 Rand 83 cents against the British pound. Price of gold up more than 0.5% at $3,295 an ounce, while platinum is at $1,336. Brent crude at $72.28 a barrel. More business after 7.
Straight to the news desk we go now. Sfiso Zulu, let's start with the ANC in the capital. What's going on?
Yeah, the secretary in Tshwane, George Matjila, says the assault case opened against him is a political stunt aimed at damaging his reputation. With the ANC in Tshwane preparing for an elective conference, Matjila believes internal rivals are behind the claims in an attempt to stop his bid for re-election. While police confirmed Matjila was arrested for allegedly assaulting a fellow ANC member yesterday, he denies ever being handcuffed.
They are business. There's no such. It's lies. It's concocted. It's something that is fabricated for the upcoming conference. Every now and then we have conferences in Tshwane. There will be some underhand. There will be some faceless people who are trying to dirty the image of other contenders.
The NPA has called on the community of Durban Deep in Western Johannesburg to work together and find justice for the family of slain 14-year-old Likona Fose. The call comes after the state's only suspect in the case, 39-year-old Nduduzi Mnisi, walked out of the Roodepoort Magistrates Court a free man after the NPA withdrew its charge of murder against him. Force's remains were discovered in an open veld at Durban Deep on the 1st of June. NPA spokesperson Pindim Jonondwane says despite the setback, the investigation continues to discover what transpired on the day the little girl was brutally murdered.
Further information brought to the fore by the NPA's consultations with other witnesses, the NPA deemed it fit, fair and responsible to withdraw the charges and allow investigations to continue. We continue in our journey to seek justice for Fose's family and urge the community to work with us in our attempts to unearth what transpired on the day Fose was brutally murdered.
In the Western Cape, Cape Town police are investigating the murder of a 17-year-old pupil outside a high school in Mfuleni. Police responded to a shooting yesterday and found the teenage boy's body on the streets with multiple gunshot wounds to the head and chest. Police spokesperson Frederick van Wyk.
The victim was declared deceased at the scene by medical personnel. The motive for this attack forms part of the police investigation. Anyone with information about this fatal incident is kindly requested to contact Crime Stop at 08600 10111 anonymously.
And Cambodia has called on Thailand to return 20 soldiers it says were taken captive after hours of a ceasefire to halt the worst fighting seen in years between the two countries. A truce was agreed to following 5 days of clashes that killed at least 43 people on both sides. This has been the latest eruption of a long-standing dispute over contested border temples. Cambodia says talks are underway for the release of the 20 soldiers. A fine day in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures are at lows of 2 and 3 degrees, peaking at highs between 20 and 21.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy traffic volumes in the Germiston, Bedfordview areas. This is because of two major accidents seen. The one is reported right near the Rand Airport interchange on the N3 North coming out of Grey Avenue, and the other one right near Van Buren Road. Delays coming out of Fort Drucker Road on the N12. Please be on the lookout there.
The top story this hour, ANC Secretary in Tshwane, George Matjila, says the assault case opened against him is a political stunt.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
Hi, this is Craig from Kempton Park. What an amazing experience, I must say, especially visiting, people behind the scenes. There's a lot of amazing people that we don't know about behind the scenes that's working very hard to serve you, the listener. Very, very impressed with everything that's going on. Fantastic studios, very professional setup, trendy, vibey. It epitomizes everything that this radio station does, and definitely it is the radio station for the people.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
So we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 Listens.
Let's walk the talk.
Life is full of moments. Some are small.
Like me, Dad.
And some are big.
Like a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
For all those moments, there's the new Haval H6 SUV. With upgraded style, a refined interior, and new innovative features, it's built for big moments.
And the little ones.
Discover the new GWM Haval H6 from only 6,799 per month. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and to book a test drive. GWM, go with more.
The Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra's early spring season features a stellar lineup of international and local talent. Enjoy favorites by Mozart, Beethoven, and Tchaikovsky. Concerts run at the Linda Auditorium on Thursday evenings from 7 to 28 August. Book at Quicket. Visit jpo.co.za for more info.
10 years ago, Illuma Capital set out with one goal: to help people like you build a legacy for tomorrow. Through personalized strategies and unwavering dedication, we've been instrumental in helping our clients achieve their financial dreams, whether it's securing retirement, growing wealth, or planning for the unexpected. For a decade, we've been trusted to guide your financial journey with expertise and care. Visit illuma.co.za today. Illuma Capital is a licensed FSP. T's and C's apply.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani. I'm sure Pakistan is going to spin everything. They went to the US. Till today, the country doesn't know what they spoke about, except that theater that we saw. But I'm sure that he's a veteran. He's going to spin it. He's used to it. So even today, the country doesn't know what they spoke about. The tariffs are going up tomorrow. There's nothing the president has said to us. What's the plan? What are we going to do? They are being sanctioned as the ANC. Trump is not listening to them. He doesn't like them. Doesn't like the ANC. So we are in trouble with this government. And in a G20, he said it straight. He's not coming. So I don't know. He's going to hand it over to an empty chair, as he says. That's how Ramaphosa has been taken, not seriously. So as a country, we should learn from that. Trump, whether you like him or not, he takes decision and quickly. Cindy,
I don't know if that's fair. I don't know if you can't be negotiating with somebody and then putting out everything you are negotiating, every detail of what you are negotiating in public. I'm not convinced that's an entirely fair reflection on the process that has unfolded. In fact, of late, we've been getting details, hence I can tell you about those 75 to 100 petajoules of liquefied natural gas that we offered to buy from the US. So some of those details have come out, and that's perhaps indication enough that we're not going to get a deal, because now they're telling us these are the things we have offered them and they haven't yet responded in all this time. I do take your point that perhaps the president could have made some kind of official pronouncement around this. He has said all along, though, that they are talking to the United States and hopefully sense will prevail. But if you're busy in a negotiation, I'm not sure if you go public and you say they're not demands. It was a negotiation to try and avert what the US was demanding. So perhaps that's a little harsh in my view.
EWN Sport.
Cindy Paluta, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Bongani.
We're chatting this morning. What makes a good listener? What makes a bad listener? And which one do you think you are?
Okay, so a good listener is somebody who listens to you, and the whole time they're listening, they're not trying to formulate their response. So often we listen to people, but we're already saying what in our head, what we want to say back, instead of just listening to what they want to say, right? That's a good listener. And what was the second question? You see, I'm such a bad listener. No, I'm not. Because I didn't pay attention to what your second question was, because as you asked the question, I was already thinking of my answer. But to be fair for us, that is part of our industry. Yeah. We already, because people expect an answer from us straight away, 9 times out of 10, you have to formulate an answer in your head.
And you have to know where the conversation is going. I was saying that I'm sometimes an impatient listener, particularly when it comes to one particular teenager in my life, because I kind of know where the story is going. But I'm told, listen, Dad. And I try, but I'm not always able to.
So interesting
I
that
should do better.
Yeah, that we have it. No.
Smack my
I'll
hand.
tell you where I think it comes from, because this was my experience last night. My husband was telling me a story.
his car's broken down and blah, 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 blah. And I was already preempting the next question. So he wasn't even done with the story. And I said, why did you take it to that place in Edenvale when you often have your car done at that place in Randburg? And he looked at me and said, I'm not finished the story. So I said, you're so right. And I realized I was very quick to interrupt. And I can tell you where it's coming from, Bongani.
Where?
We're spending too much time on our phones. Our concentration span is so much shorter. We're already formulating the answer. I already want to know. I mean, how many times do you watch videos and you turn the playback speed times 2 because you just want to get to the end of the story? So in real life, when a person's taking their time to answer the story, you're preempting your daughter's answer and trying to end it for her because you can't hit times 2 on her story.
Okay.
I don't know.
Ouch.
Maybe. I could be wrong.
No, I mean, it's good to hear. It's hard to hear, but it is also good to hear because I know I can do better.
We all do it.
Yeah, I know I can do better. All right, let's talk sport.
Well,
I'm really going to listen.
You should, because World Athletics announcing overnight that athletes who want to compete in the female category for world rankings will have to take a once-in-a-lifetime gene test. Testing for the SRY gene will be conducted via a cheek swab or blood test. If negative for the Y chromosome, the athlete is eligible to compete. If positive for the Y chromosome, they can compete in the female category in a non-world ranking competition or in another category other than the female one. The test will apply for the World Athletics Champs starting in September in Tokyo. In football friendlies in the last 24 hours, West Ham with a 2-1 win over Everton. Man United beat Bournemouth 4-1. Bournemouth's goal was an own goal. Liverpool wrapped up their pre-season tour of Asia with a 3-1 win over Yokohama Marinos. Reds boss Arne Slot.
A good game against an opponent that's already in the middle of the season, used to the circumstances over here, so they made it an intense game for us, which is always nice to have in pre-season, because this is also what we're looking for. We want to have teams that can really compete with us, and today was definitely one of them.
In cricket, fifth and final test between England and India starts at midday. England leads the series 2-1. India will wait until the last minute before deciding on whether or not bowler Jasprit Bumrah will play. They're managing his workload, but it's a must-win for India to avoid a series defeat. There's also been a lot of heated rivalry between the sides, but India captain Shubman Gill says there's no bad blood.
I think once you're done with the match, you're done with the match, and you move on to the next one, and you want to play the next one as competitive and as best as you can. For us, I can say it doesn't really matter what we have done in the last match, good or bad. Whatever's happened in the last match has gone by. We want to move on, and we want to perform the best in the next one that we can.
Gosh, when last did we play a 5-test series? Because then what happens is you play 5 tests, then there's the one-dayers, then there's the T20s. I mean, these teams spend months when you've got that kind of program scheduled for an encounter. So of course things are going to get rough, but I think afterwards they've been around each other long enough to go have drinks after the game, hey?
Yes, absolutely, and that's exactly what he said. In Bulawayo, New Zealand 92 without loss on day one of the first test in reply to Zimbabwe's 149. Matt Henry taking 6 wickets yesterday. And at the World Swimming Champs, South African Chris Smith finished 6th in the 50-metre breaststroke final, just 0.21 seconds off the winner's pace. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Hi, Uncle Bongani. I am Zoe. I am 13. I go to Cliffview Primary School. I would like to be a psychologist when I grow up, and I'm so excited to play the Whiz Quiz with you.
Let's see if you can read our minds and get to 10,000 Rand, Zoe.
EWN Traffic.
6:45, this Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. There are delays in Germiston. Amma, what's going on?
Yes, Bongani, due to 2 major accident scenes. The one happened on the N3 North right at the Rand Airport interchange, and it's causing massive queues as you come out of Grey Avenue. Please be on the lookout there and try to avoid while traveling on the N12 East all the way through towards the Van Buren Road on the N3 North. Another accident will cause you those delays there. About a 20-minute hold up. Please be on the lookout and be patient on the roads. And if you're traveling on the N1 North, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic already between 14th Avenue and Malibongwe Drive due to another accident scene between these 2 points. So please be on the lookout and be patient on the road. I'll have more updates coming up shortly.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car full of groceries and a lady who will be attempting to make her mother-in-law's famous recipe for the family dinner tonight. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's butterflies and a potential bonding moment. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. 702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
As a business owner, would you rather deal with stacks of slips at the end of each day or have recons done instantly? Introducing Yoko Counter, the new all-in-one payments and points of sale system that removes the guesswork, the paperwork, and the time drain. Taking your business from chaos to control, guesswork to clarity, giving you back time to focus on what truly matters. Visit yoko.com today to find out more about the simple yet powerful out-of-the-box solution with free built-in point of sale software.
So we did a thing, a full commitment kind of thing. We've partnered with Sixt to bring worldwide to your doorstep. So you see how that's a serious thing, because that's what you deserve. We know you're the GOAT, so premium it is. Premium service, premium vehicles, premium you, premium us. Sani Sixt is all about adding extra to ordinary. Extra reach, extra countries, so you can be extra premium worldwide. Be the greatest of all time and rent Sani Sixt.
We plan for vacations, retirement, and even tonight's dinner. But do we plan for our health? It's how we protect our family's future. So who are you staying healthy for? And how can you protect their future? Choose Dis-Chem Life, the life cover that helps you live a healthier, more rewarding life with health checks and extra rewards. Visit dischemlife.co.za now. Dis-Chem Life. Choose a better partner for life. Dis-Chem Life is an authorized FSP 50594, underwritten by Guard Risk Life, a licensed life insurer, FSP 76. T's and C's apply.
Coming up in the next hour, what's the question? And it's brought to you by Outsurance. 3,000 Rand is up for grabs. You send us an answer based on something you heard in the show. We give you 1,000. WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072 702 1702. Then later, someone else will ask a question and win 2,000 Rand. Now, you always stand a better chance of being selected if you've SMS'd out to 45142. Do it now, and you could save on your car insurance.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
All right, it's 12 to 7. We've been telling you how busy it was at the Constitutional Court yesterday. And part of what makes these cases matter is how much we as the public get an understanding as lay people of how the system works, or at least is meant to work. I want you to listen now to Advocate Kate Hofmeyer, Senior Counsel, speaking or arguing on behalf of President Ramaphosa as to why the Court shouldn't even be hearing this case in the first place. Have a listen.
This matter does not fall within this court's exclusive jurisdiction. Very few matters do, and this is not one of them. This court has previously had occasion to consider Section 1674 in the Constitution, and it has said that it must be narrowly and restrictively construed. And that is for essentially three reasons. The first reason is because cases that engage this court's exclusive jurisdiction come to this court first and last. No other court may opine on those issues. And there is a wealth of jurisprudence of this court recognizing how limiting that is in a situation where the court does not have the benefit of any other court's considerations of these weighty issues. And I would add to that, doesn't have the benefit of the refinement of legal argument and issue over time as matters wend their way through the courts. None of that is available to this court when it exercises its exclusive jurisdiction. And so that itself is a reason narrowly to interpret that provision.
So essentially what she's saying is, it's not that the Constitutional Court judges are necessarily the smartest jurists in the land, but by the time a matter makes its way up to the highest court in the country, the judges have this wealth of information, arguments made for and against, say in the High Court, say in the Supreme Court of Appeal. So by the time they make their final decision, they have considered almost every possible issue at play, because judges can get it wrong. But once the Court has made its decision, it can't be reversed. So you've got to be very careful which cases you take directly to the Constitutional Court. But Advocate Dalimpofu, arguing for the other side, was posed a question by Justice Leona Theron. Why should we hear this? She asked him. And this was quite a moment. Have a listen.
In relation to the applicant's claim for direct access, could the applicants have approached the High Court for interim relief in respect of the appointment of the acting minister or in respect of the commission not starting its work immediately?
No, because the issue about I'm not sure whether we're talking about exclusive jurisdiction or direct access. As far as direct,
let me make it clear.
Yeah.
I'm dealing now with the claim for direct access.
Yes. Okay.
On the basis that there's no exclusive
jurisdiction.
Yes. I'm dealing with the alternative claims that have been advanced by the applicants.
Yes.
For them to approach this.
Yes. Well, then the question that doesn't make sense because whenever you apply for direct access, you can. It doesn't mean you can't because it's not exclusive jurisdiction. So every time you apply for direct access, every time...
Mr. Mpofu,
yes, just...
I request that you at least answer the question.
Yes.
If you don't understand, ask it to be understood.
No, I understand.
Don't say the question doesn't make sense.
No. I don't mean it in a negative sense. I said that I'm the stupid one here.
Clearly, Advocate Dalimpofu wasn't listening in that particular moment, was he?
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Up next, we speak to Dr. Terence McNamee, the Global Affairs Specialist and Senior Fellow at the Montreal Institute of Global Security in Canada. What did we miss about this Trump administration? Why don't we have a deal? But in the meantime, let's play with 13-year-old Zoe from Cliffview Primary School and see if Zoe can walk away with 10,000 Rand. Zoe, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Here we go. KG, start the clock. Spell the word exactly.
EXACTLY.
Correct. True or false? The famous Wall Street is in New York City.
False.
It's true. In which animated movie is Pride Rock an important place?
Lion King.
Correct. Which word means boring? Rousing or dull?
Rousing.
Dull. In what season are Christmas and New Year in South Africa?
December.
In
and
summer.
January.
In summer season. How many vowels are there in the English language?
5.
Correct. What is 120 minus 30?
90.
Correct. True or false? The nickname of Argentina's national rugby team is the Pumas.
True.
Correct. What's South Africa's national flower?
The Protea.
Correct. What's the chemical symbol for water? H2O is the answer we were looking for there. And Zoe, you walk away with 6 correct answers. That means you've won 600 Rand.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz.
On 702.
Current events, developing stories,
Tough questions.
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
Deal or no deal, it is in many respects 11:59. The clock is ticking towards 12 o'clock because, of course, tomorrow those 30% tariffs on South African exports to the US take effect. We've had months to try and work out a deal. We were told negotiations were underway, but at this late stage, it doesn't seem we have been able to get one. Dr. Terence McNamee joins us now, a global affairs specialist and, I say, senior fellow at the Montreal Institute for Global Security in Canada. You and I have spoken, Dr. McNamee, on this issue a number of times. And did we read the room? Essentially, it doesn't look like a deal is on the offer.
Hi, thanks, Bongani. I guess the real question is this kind of sort of deadline deal making that is under highly pressurized circumstances. Is it really conducive for striking a deal that is in South Africa's medium to long-term interests? And remember, I think, August 1st tomorrow, the sky's not going to fall in And as we've seen in the past, you remember in April we were talking about Liberation Day, and that was, that was going to be the big event. And now we're talking about October 1st. So remember that all of these
August 1st.
so-called deals,
August
yeah,
1st.
August 1st, yeah. So, these deals are really just trade frameworks. They're not fully comprehensive trade agreements with all the necessary security and compliance provisions. So I think, to some extent, we have to understand that this is the modus operandi of the Trump administration. And as, if Canada is a good illustration, I mean, Canada has already said it's unlikely we'll get a deal by tomorrow. And, I think South Africa, obviously, they want to push for an agreement that's going to, work with South Africa's national interests. But as I said, I don't think the sky is going to fall in tomorrow.
Perfectly true, but isn't part of the problem that perhaps our understanding of specifically the Trump administration perhaps somewhat flawed, because our approach to this seems to me, at least as a bystander, to have been almost the approach we might have taken, say, under a Biden administration, an Obama administration, perhaps even a Bush administration.
Yeah, I mean, it is fiendishly complicated dealing with the Trump administration. We've seen how capricious and brash they are, how bullying they are. I mean, obviously, we know it is America first. I mean, that's what underpins all of this. So we have to give them credit in that sense, is that they're not trying to pretend they are anything but that. But of course, I have to say that, South Africa, we can't let them off the hook. I mean, they haven't showed themselves to be terribly organized and purposeful. And I think that they haven't really been agile in terms of dealing with this new Trump administration and these very different circumstances in Washington, D.C. So this isn't about changing, principles, but equally we have to recognize that within Washington, D.C., there really isn't that sort of sentimental tug for South Africa anymore. It's really a whole new ballgame.
You say the sky is not going to fall in. I'll put to you the Business Day's framing of it. They say at stake are billions of rands in export revenue from manufacturing stalwarts such as BMW, say Toyota, Ford. We know, of course, the citrus industry is under enormous pressure in agriculture, and you might even argue our geopolitical positioning.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, that is a point, but again, we have been here before, and we've seen the Trump administration change its mind numerous times in the past. And again, not to overstate or overuse the Canada example, but Canada had a very, very fruitful trade agreement with the United States, which was torn up, and then another one was negotiated. That one was also torn up. And now we're in this other situation where Canada, Mexico, and the United States are trying to strike another deal. So yes, of course, we know that there's a possibility of losing 100,000 jobs. We know there's a possibility that, AGOA is just going to be thrown up. But again, we have to understand that this is how the Trump administration operates, and South Africa is not alone. I mean, look what's going on with Brazil.
Does that mean then there was nothing we really could have offered them that would have sufficed? I mean, we offered to buy, for example, their liquefied natural gas far more than we need for our energy needs. That would cost us in terms of infrastructure build to make it work for our circumstances. Even that was not enough. Was there anything we could have offered that would have appeased this White House?
Well, I mean, it's a very good question, and obviously everyone is talking about critical minerals. But we have to understand what is the context to this. I mean, relations have been in free fall with the United States for three totally separate reasons. One, over Russia and South Africa's perceived loyalty to Moscow. Two, over the ICJ case. And then three, of course, this sort of white genocide issue, which plays into America's DEI narrative and its culture wars. Those three dynamics are really determining what the sort of U.S. posture is towards South Africa at the moment. And until those dynamics really change, I don't see that this relationship, just because a sort of new trade framework is hammered out, are going to change.
So it was always a losing battle. What are we going to do about it now? Up next, we speak to Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Parks Dr. McNamee, I always appreciate your time, Global Affairs Specialist and Senior Fellow at the Montreal Institute of Global Security.
This is EWN.
Will there be another interest rate cut? And Malema says he'll take action against Gayton McKenzie. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Some economists believe the Reserve Bank's Monetary Policy Committee will make another repo rate cut when the central bank decides on its benchmark rate today. The July meeting comes amid heightened external risks and global policy uncertainty pushed up by the looming US tariffs on all the country's trading partners. Despite that and the slight uptick in the June inflation print, analysts say there's room for softer interest rates for consumers buckling under debt. Nokanyam Dambo takes a look.
Inflation inched higher from 2.8% in May to 3% in June, still comfortably below the Reserve Bank's 4.5% midpoint target. Only warning of the impact of food prices, inflation remains tame and the risks to the outlook relatively balanced. Economists at Nedbank predict a 25 basis point cut. They believe the sources of upward pressure remain few and isolated. Economist at Sanlam Investments, Patrick Buthelezi, says while there are risks to inflation in the second half of the year due to food and administered prices, he says the country doesn't have an inflation problem. The current repo rate stands at 7.25% and the prime rate at 10.75%, which is still some 100 basis points higher compared to the pre-pandemic rate in January 2020. Nogukanyam Dambo, Eyewitness News.
Lawyers for former President Jacob Zuma have dismissed President Cyril Ramaphosa's reasons for suspending Police Minister Senzo Mchunu as a fallacy that has proven not to work in the past. The MK party, its leader Zuma and Ramaphosa battled it out yesterday in the Constitutional Court. The party wants the president's decision on suspending Mchunu and appointing an acting police minister set aside. They are also challenging the Judicial Commission of Inquiry that was set up to investigate allegations made by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Khomotso Modise reports.
President Cyril Ramaphosa's argument in the Constitutional Court case against him by the MK party is that it is rational that Police Minister Senzo Mchunu be investigated for the allegations made against him before he makes the decision to fire him. However, the MK party's lawyer, Advocate Dalimpofu, says judging by the lack of prosecution of high-profile politicians implicated in the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, that is a fallacy, as many were rewarded with ministerial positions and seats in Parliament. Mpofu has used Gwede Mandashe as an example.
Despite the tested allegations that were in the Zondo Commission, what did the president do? He has appointed Minister Mandashe as acting Minister of Police now, today, as we speak.
While it noted the urgency of the matter, with Professor Feroz Kachalia expected to take office as acting minister on Friday, the court has reserved its judgment. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News at the Constitutional Court.
EFF leader Julius Malema says he won't hesitate to sue Patriotic Alliance leader Gayton McKenzie for bad-mouthing him. In the latest round of pot shots, McKenzie called Malema stupid, a gossip and a bank robber in a social media message to his party supporters on Monday night. Responding to EWN's politicking, Malema said he won't take it lying down and that despite the coalition in the city of Johannesburg, he doesn't view the PA as an ally. Lindsay Dentlinga reports.
In a wide-ranging message to PA supporters, party leader Gayton McKenzie also took a swipe at the EFF's Julius Malema, following the Red Berets' 12th birthday rally in Cape Town last weekend, saying the PA had been slamming the EFF in by-elections. McKenzie told supporters the EFF is in ICU, that Malema gossips without facts and can't prove how he funds his lavish lifestyle.
Me and him, we are ex-criminal colleagues. I used to rob banks, he used to do VBS, he's robbing banks too.
Responding to McKenzie's claims on EWN's Politricking podcast, Malema referred to McKenzie as a prisoner and says over the years the EFF's learned to accept the VBS jibes.
I've never robbed anything in my entire life. Never.
Malema, who has already filed 2 defamation suits against the PA's Deputy President Kenny Kunene and won one of them, says he won't hesitate to strike again for this latest round of insults. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And Canada has joined a list of Western countries who now want to recognize an independent state for Palestinians. Prime Minister Mark Carney says this will happen at the UN General Assembly in September in a dramatic policy shift that was immediately rejected by Israel. It makes Canada the third country following recent announcement by France and the United Kingdom that could recognize a Palestinian state in September. Israel blasted Canada's announcement as part of a distorted campaign of international pressure. Carney says the worsening suffering of civilians in Gaza leaves no room for delay in coordinated international action to support peace.
This intention is predicated on the Palestinian Authority's commitment to much-needed reform, including commitments by the Palestinian Authority's President Abbas to fundamentally reform its government, to hold general elections in 2026 in which Hamas can play no part, and to demilitarize the Palestinian state.
Gold is trading at $3,296.42 an ounce. The rand is at 17.97 to the dollar, 23.83 to the pound, 20.54 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $73.09 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got a major accident scene reported on the N12 West right near Atlas Road. It's a 3-car pileup. Please be on the lookout there. Try to avoid if you can. It is causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of Tom Jones already. Please try to avoid this scene. If you are traveling on the N1 North, another accident scene reported. This one is just as you head towards Randbeck, and it's causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of 14th Avenue in the Roodepoort area.
In your sport, World Athletics mandates gene testing for females. Orlando Pirates and Kosanati Sabisi excited to lead the team. And it's the fifth and final test between England and India. England leads the series 2-1.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. Johannesburg is at a low of 2 degrees, peaking at 20. Pretoria 3 and 21. Vereeniging 2 and 21 as well. The top story in EWN this hour. Some economists believe the Reserve Bank's Monetary Policy Committee will make another repo rate cut when the central bank decides on its benchmark rate today.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 7 o'clock. All right, up next we speak to the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition. You heard Dr. McNamee, our guest, before 6 o'clock saying essentially there were 3 strikes against South Africa. He mentions Transformation BEE and all the disinformation that has gone on in Washington that has soured South Africa-US relations. And no matter how much we try to explain the real story, it doesn't seem like the Trump White House was willing to buy it. He also mentions as a strike against us the idea that we went to the ICJ to try and prosecute that case against Israel. I want you to listen to a UK doctor, Professor Nick Maynard, who's just returned from Gaza as a volunteer surgeon. He was speaking to CNN about what he saw. You may remember I played a clip yesterday where Piers Morgan referenced this doctor who'd just come back from Gaza, right? The question then becomes, how could we not? How could we not have taken the stand we took to go to the ICJ when these are the reports that are coming out of Gaza? So this doctor, Professor Nick Maynard, a UK surgeon, volunteered at the NASA hospital, and this is what he describes as his experience.
It's been far worse than I could possibly have imagined. I expected that I'd be prepared for it, but I wasn't. It was beyond description how awful it was. A lot of doctors I know who have taken in formula feed because they knew there was such a shortage. None has been allowed in. There was a very clear pattern of injuries, a cluster of injuries to specific body parts on particular days. So one day, for example, we'd see patients coming in with gunshot wounds just to the head and neck. On another day, they'd be coming in with gunshot wounds to the chest or the abdomen. The next day, the legs. On one day, about 12 days ago, we saw 4 young teenage boys, 13, 14, all of whom had been shot specifically in the testicles.
Goodness me.
So the very clear clustering of these injuries appeared to us like a target practice. A game was being played.
A game was being played. They wouldn't allow doctors with baby formula. They won't allow doctors with baby formula. There can only be one intention, that those babies must obviously die. Target practice. So on Tuesday, we're shooting them all in the head. On Monday, we're shooting them in the abdomen, etc., etc., etc. How could South Africa then, I ask you, not have taken the stance that we did?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
On to matters more local. The Constitutional Court, as I say, has been busy. The battle of the presidents. The MK Party and former President Jacob Zuma want the setting aside of the Commission of Inquiry looking into those allegations made by General Mkhwanazi. But they also want the appointment of Professor Firoz Kachalia as acting police minister to also be set aside. And one of the arguments the president has made is that he couldn't possibly fire Minister Mkhunu without some process being concluded. And Advocate Dalimpofu had some stinging responses to that view. Have a listen.
In fact, not only has Minister Mantashe been appointed as Minister of Minerals and Energy, and now appointed as acting Minister of Police. He has even been promoted to acting president recently. So if you do wrong and you are found by a commission to have possible criminal liability, not only are you not going to be punished, but you are going to be promoted probably. What is that?
So he's actually saying that, you remember the former Chief Justice Raymond Zondo talking about how disheartening it was to have to swear in ministers against whom he'd made adverse findings. And that's where Dalimpofu picks it up there. And he says, listen, even if a commission of inquiry finds that you've done something wrong, you not only don't get punished, you get promoted. So what's the point of having this commission? Because the same thing is going to happen over and over and over again. And here he nails his point.
There has to come a time in this country where we must say this far and no more. You cannot have a president who's going to come to this court and say in open court, daylight, I am waiting for these things to be tested so that I can possibly dismiss. When all the evidence shows that with Minister Mantashe, with Zizi Kodwa, with Deputy Minister Mahlobo, all the people who were implicated in the Zondo Commission have been appointed by him.
The presidency says, hang on, but all those guys took the reports of the commission on review. That's why he could appoint them again. So what happens then if the Madlanga report comes out and ministers or anybody implicated there takes it on review? They can still, in the meantime, get promotions? You see what I mean? You see what he means? I thought it was a compelling argument. Talking of acting Deputy Chief Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, he first became a judge at the age of 34 and has gone on to deliver landmark rulings over 17 years on the Constitutional Court bench. Now at 63, he steps down, and some would say he leaves behind him a legacy of excellence.
702. Up next,
The Big Interview.
EWN Traffic.
14 after 7, this Eyewitness News traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. There are heavy delays in the Benoni area. Amma, what's going on?
Yeah, Bongani, it's a major accident scene. I'm being told by our listeners that it's a 3-car pileup along the N12 West right near Atlas Road. As a result, traffic is backed up all the way from Snake Road, about a 30-minute hold-up along this route. If you can, please try to avoid it. If you are leaving Benoni at this particular moment, please try to avoid the scene. If you are traveling on the N1 North, this is towards Malibongwe Drive, do expect more traffic delays due to an accident after Beyersnodia Drive, delays from 14th Avenue. I'll have more updates on this. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Like the feeling of hearing your favorite song on radio, the Outsurance pointsmen are here to ease traffic congestion to make your day a little brighter. Because sometimes rush hour can turn into slow hour. Outsurance pointsmen getting you there quickly and safely since 2005. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
So we did a thing. A full commitment kind of thing. We've partnered with Sixt to bring worldwide to your doorstep. So, you see how that's a serious thing, because that's what you deserve. We know you're the GOAT, so premium it is. Premium service, premium vehicles, premium you, premium us. Sani Sixt is all about adding extra to ordinary. Extra reach, extra countries, so you can be extra premium worldwide. Be the greatest of all time and rent Sani Sixt.
Want to celebrate Women's Day in style? Then get your tickets as Grammy Award-winning singers Anthony Hamilton and Joe Thomas come together to celebrate the incredible women of Mzansi on the 9th of August. It's happening at the iconic DP World Wanderers Stadium in Sandton, and they'll be joined by South African multi-award-winning singers, the incomparable Zonke, Sjava and Vusinova. Get your tickets now at CompuTicket or Web Tickets. Brought to you by Soulful Night, Vertex Events and 702.
Did you ever work in the UK? If you did for at least 3 years and you're under 67, you can get a guaranteed UK state pension worth up to 5 million rand over a typical retirement for just a small payment directly to UK revenue. Most people get 40 rand back for every rand they pay in. There's a big queue at UK revenue as this opportunity may end soon, so act fast. Call Extra Pension in Cape Town or see extrapension.com. Mind your UK pension and it'll mind you. Service fees apply.
702.
The Big Interview
With Bongani Bingwa.
17 minutes after 7 o'clock, deal or no deal. It's late in the day that 30% levy on South African exports to the US comes into effect tomorrow. And as things stand, it doesn't appear there have been any responses to the overtures we have made to Washington. To explain then the state of play and what happens next, I'm pleased to say the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Park Stau, joins us now. As always, a pleasure to have you on the phone, on the show. Thank you for your time.
Good morning and thank you very much for me.
We don't have a deal, do we, Minister?
No, we don't. We actually spoke to the US last night, both at the level of the embassy and also at the level of the US trade representative. And they indicated that even they are unable to confirm what the announcement would be. And they would encourage us to resubmit our proposal, possibly an enhanced proposal, to the United States government. It would be processed by the White House, and that's what pretty much they can advise. But at this point, they're unable to say what the final decision will be.
Here's part of the challenge, I would imagine. For months now, you've been trying to make overtures to this Trump White House. From the information your department has communicated publicly, we've made significant offers to the Trump administration, and it doesn't appear that there's very much we could have offered, and for months they haven't been responding to much of what you've said. I think we heard from the Agriculture Minister, who's part, of course, of the Interministerial Committee, that they weren't responding. Is there anything you can still say, really, to sway them?
Well, it's something that we're in discussion about with the various departments. Of course, part of the offers that they require would be in relation to agriculture, as an example. And there are difficulties that we're going to have to confront, because they're saying, look, we can't at this point say at the 11th hour, you can still negotiate. You have to just give us an offer that we will consider, and that's the basis on which we'll make a decision, look at the issues that have been in dispute and say how you resolve those. Now, let me make an example. Our colleagues in the Agriculture Department have said, look, there's a difficulty in importing pork shoulder from the US without the removal of the lymph node because of disease-related matters and a history of the spread of disease in our country as a result of the lymph nodes in the US pork. Now, we can't just unilaterally say to the colleagues in agriculture, that notwithstanding, we're going to import the pork. So we now have to look at, are there ways in which you can resolve the problem? Is there a mechanism through which you can possibly make a decision around pork that would be palatable to the US without compromising South Africa? And I can say last night in discussions, part of the issue was, but if you say, bring the pork to South Africa and we will deal with the problem, you're exporting the risk. So there are those difficulties, but we're having to navigate a last-minute proposal that's enhanced from the proposal that we had initially given. And to tell the truth, it's wait and see. And we are in the same boat as many other countries. I'm in discussion with colleagues in many other countries that are pretty much saying we're on the same boat.
Minister, that granularity notwithstanding, is this ultimately a trade issue? I mean, I don't think it should take, hitting brick walls or being stonewalled to deal with the kind of detail you've just given us. But aren't we ultimately thinking of this as a trade issue when in fact it's very political? I mean, as late as this week, the US president says he's got really serious problems with South Africa. He possibly will not be coming to the G20 that we are going to be hosting. We know the US position on our ICJ case, the disinformation campaign about what happens in South Africa around BEE and transformation. All of those are really, if you will, the political strikes against us. This was never really a trade issue, was it?
Well, it has been a bit of both, I think. If you think about the trade environment, the situation is not just impacting South Africa, and it's certainly not impacting countries that have had disputes with the US around geopolitics. We are part of many countries that are facing the same situation. On the other issues, I can confirm that Minister Lamola has been in the US. He was in Washington and continued to engage on the matters that are geopolitical in nature, whilst we have been engaging on the trade issues, and we've taken a view that we need to run a parallel process in an intensive way so that we're able to resolve those issues. So the reality is, yes, there are issues that the US has continued to raise with us. And yes, we have committed to engage with them. As I said, Minister Lamola was there this week. But we also have to deal with the reality that on the trade issues, we're part of many that are dealing with similar situations. And I'm not naive to suggest that, in fact, those other issues might not impact on South Africa. As you would have seen, there are issues that impacted on Brazil that are outside the trade environment, and the same has been applicable to other countries. So
precisely,
we're not naive to that possibility, and that's why we're working all out to ensure that we're able to address it on both sides.
Precisely. I know this isn't specifically your ambit, Minister, but could we have managed this better, particularly after the expulsion of our former ambassador, Ibrahim Rasool? We know, of course, our special envoy, who was meant to be working behind the scenes, wasn't palatable to this White House. And even at this late stage, we've not reversed that decision or even disavowed him or admitted that perhaps Mcebisi Jonas, for all his credentials that are clear to us as South Africans, wasn't the best choice for the Americans.
Well, as I said, part of the issues have been dealt with by Minister Lamola. My opinion is that we have pulled out all stops, including sending delegations from ministries, including sending officials into the US government. We've engaged through business, through civil society. Our colleagues in COSATU were there in the past week. There have been various business delegations. So from all angles, we have continued to engage with the US. So I don't think that we can limit it to the issues around the special envoy. And he has also been doing some significant work in the US in different platforms because that responsibility has not necessarily been changed in terms of the work that he's supposed to do.
We might argue that we may have friends in Washington, Minister, but perhaps our friends are no longer in power and have much influence. Let's move on to the what now. There is this idea that perhaps it's time now to pivot and consider other markets. And the counter-argument, of course, to that is, well, it's not as if business has been ignoring potential markets simply because the US was available. We've got to think around the cost to access to those markets and whether or not you can replace the buying power of the American consumer. And I put it to you, that's not such an easy thing to do, certainly not in the short term.
It certainly isn't an easy thing to do. Talking about markets, you're also talking about relationships with buyers on the other side, appetite to engage with your product. Some of the agreements that we've had are historic and we've had to reactivate them. But it's a reality that we have to confront. So we are in a situation where we've had to plan for different scenarios. And in the worst case scenario, pivoting to alternative markets is part of the options that we've been working on. We have reached out to various other countries that have different agreements with South Africa. And we've literally had to bring it down to industry level and firm level implications and say, what can we do in the event that your product is unable to access the US market? We have established an export support desk that would be opened by tomorrow. And we've been collating information across the board, including, as I said, firm level implications, so that we're able to provide the support. We're also looking at a package of support mechanisms from government. We've been packaging it and should be engaging with National Treasury. We've been in constant contact with them on the process of developing a support package to support South African investors. It's very difficult to finalize the package until you know what the implications are, because there are industries that might still be able to access the market even with a, let's say, 15 or 20% tariff increase, and there are industries or companies that simply would not be able to access the market, and we might have to bring in a tariff support mechanism. And all that is subject to what the final announcement is, so that we're able to package per industry, per sector, what the implications are and what sort of support we can provide.
Did we wake up to the reality that the Americans won't budge too late? Could we not have had parallel processes that put in play what happens if they don't as we negotiate with them or try to make them offers?
Well, I don't think so. I think that part of the reality is until you know what you're dealing with, it is very difficult to put a package of support mechanisms together. So we, as I said, are engaging with different sectors.
But surely you need a contingency.
Export councils, and they've also been in touch with their counterparts in different countries with regards to what can happen. So it has been an extremely difficult situation, admittedly, and we've had to work parallel to the process of negotiating with the US. What do we do about alternative markets? And even that on its own is not an easy issue. I mean, we've been having delegations of many other countries that are coming here and saying, can you open the market for these sort of products that we might not be able to sell to the US? And we've had to say to them, well, on the basis of an agreement we have with you, can you open this market for us, or can you expand these areas of access and opportunity into your markets? And, you know, part of the reality is that we also governed by rules of the World Trade Organization. So if you create a tariff structure for one country under the system of most favored nations, you should be able to apply the same rule to other countries. So we have to carefully manage what, in fact, we are offering other countries and what they are offering us. And we've had these discussions with many other countries, and it's been continuous.
All right, Minister, appreciate your time. I know you probably need some rest in the next few days once we know what the future looks like. Appreciate your time talking to us. Minister Parkstow, Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition.
EWN Traffic.
Quickly check up on the roads. This Eyewitness News traffic brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. What's the latest?
Well, Bongani, we still have got bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 West between Benoni and Lakefield. This is due to that major accident scene, that pile-up after Tom Jones causing about a 30-minute hold-up coming out of Snake Road. Please be on the lookout there and drive with care or try to avoid the scene. I'll have more details coming up shortly.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You are the poster child, the biggest saver we've ever had.
I decided that I would contact Outsurance and let them work out what they could do for me.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, big saving. 2,794 Rand a month.
That's over 33,000 Rand a year.
And it was the easiest switch ever. Real people helping real people get real deals.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's and information online.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
South Africa will do everything just to try to please
Donald Trump. And that man has made up his mind.
EWN Business.
All right, this EWN Business is brought to you by Bright. Bright doesn't just provide business insurance, they insure your future success. Bright Insurance is a licensed insurer and authorized FSP. It looks like, Mateo, our salaries have been stable in this month of June.
Yeah, Bongani Banks of Africa says salaries are stable in the country. Its take-home pay index says salaries are at 17,310 Rand in June, showing a marginal 0.1% drop from May's 17,325 Rand. Now, the index tracks the salaries of around 4 million South African employees who are paid through the national payment system. However, it's still above the 15,000 Rand, 500 Rand that we saw last year. So people have earned more in 2025 and those salaries have remained stable.
Samsung could be happier.
Yeah, but they're not. Samsung Electronics has reported a second quarter operating profit of $3.3 billion, missing market expectations. The firm's earnings were let down by a 94% drop in its chip business. And while Samsung's second quarter operating profit beat its own forecast, it was still a steep drop from what they made last year.
Where's the rand?
Rand at this hour still at 17 Rand 96, quite flat against the dollar this morning ahead.
Wasn't it 17.50 last week?
Yeah, it was.
Yep,
So it's weakened a lot this week. It's the SARB decision later this afternoon, and of course, the August 1st deadline for those US tariffs at 20 Rand 55 cents against the euro and at 23 Rand 83 cents against the British pound. Price of gold up more than 0.5% at $3,296 an ounce, or platinum at $1,331. Brent crude at $72.18 a barrel. More business after 8.
At Bright, we don't just provide business insurance, we insure your business's
Future success.
because your business is so much more than desks and computers and equipment, which is why we use our specialist expertise to tailor solutions for each client differently to ensure what's really important. So insure your businesses
Financial security, BT.
with Bright today. Contact your broker or go to brightinsure.co.za to find out more. Bright. Approach risk with purpose. Bright is a licensed insurer and authorized FSP.
Straight to the news desk we go. Sfiso, we're starting with health issues.
That's right, Bongani. Good morning. Nurses Union Denosa says overcrowding and a shortage of hospital staff are some of the reasons behind more than 7,000 patients getting infections at facilities. The health department says the worst hit hospital is Charlotte Maxeke Academic in Johannesburg. The department also specified that many of these are antibiotic-resistant infections, some of which could be life-threatening. Denosa's Bongani Banda says the issue needs to be addressed urgently.
And indeed, the hygiene within the hospitals, it is quite bad simply because of the issue that is affecting these issues, is which the shortage of staff within the hospitals and the overcrowding. And I can tell you now that the issue of the shortage of staff, as long as it is not addressed as supposed to, will never get to advance or rather get to where we want to get, specifically with the issue of cleaning and the issue also of the hospital-acquired infections within the hospitals.
In the Northern Cape, the Health Ombud has called on both the MEC and head of the Provincial Health Department in the province to urgently address staff shortages. This is one of the recommendations made by the Ombud's Professor Taule Mokoena, who revealed investigation findings into treatment complications and deaths of psychiatric patients in the province. The investigation was initiated following a complaint by Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi against the Northern Cape Mental Health Hospital in Kimberley last year. The Ombud found that the general care provided at the institution was substandard, with 2 patients dying and another left bedridden following brain surgery. Tandoluhle Ngobo reports.
Health Ombudsman Professor Taule Mokoena further recommended that the Provincial Health Department should take appropriate action against the provincial supply chain management for failure to take appropriate measures against poor quality pyjamas and other garments that were supplied by a tropical enterprise. Mokoena added that the mental health management, working with the Provincial Health Infrastructure Department, must urgently address infrastructure repairs and maintenance. He says that the hospitals must cease appointing enrolled nurses and enrolled nursing assistants to manage wards and units without professional nurses. Tandoluhle Ngobo, Eyewitness News.
ANC Secretary in Tshwane George Matjila says the assault case opened against him is a political stunt aimed at damaging his reputation. With the ANC in Tshwane preparing for an elective conference, Matjila believes internal rivals are behind the claims in an attempt to stop his bid for re-election. While police confirmed Matjila was arrested for allegedly assaulting a fellow ANC member yesterday, he's denied this.
Their business, there's no such. It's lies. It's concocted. It's something that is fabricated for the upcoming conference. Every now and then we have conferences in Tshwane. There will be some underhand. There will be some faceless people who are trying to dirty the image of other contenders.
And Cambodia has called on Thailand to return 20 soldiers it says were taken captive hours after a ceasefire to halt the worst fighting scene in years between the two neighbors. A truce was agreed to following 5 days of clashes that killed at least 43 people on both sides. This has been the latest eruption of a long-standing dispute over contested border temples. Cambodia says talks are underway for the release of the 20 soldiers. A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures are at lows of 2 and 3 degrees, peaking at highs between 20 and 21.
And in the traffic, we've got a major accident seen along the N12 West right near Atlas Road. It's a 3-car pileup there, causing long queues coming out of Snake Road. About a 30-minute hold-up here. If you can, please try to avoid this route. While traveling on the N1 North towards Randburg, we've got more delays. This is between Albertina Sisulu Road and Malibongo Drive, and that's due to another accident scene.
The top story this hour, Dinosa says overcrowding and shortage of hospital staff are some of the reasons behind more than 7,000 patients getting infections.
Clement Manyathela.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Nobody forced Malcolm X to reveal himself. And maybe they wanted an exclusive so bad. But what they had forgotten is that Godfrey Levea had said on this show that the person who gave him that information has actually been a police informant before. So you're actually putting your life at risk. Can you imagine if this guy has people around him who've been investigated by the Hawks, for instance, and they've been wondering, how did the Hawks know about this? And now they're sitting there thinking, could it have been this guy? But nobody forced this man to reveal himself like that. And he should have been more cautious. But he went and said, in an exclusive, I'm going to reveal myself as a person who called Lebea.
Clements Manyathela.
9 to 12 on 702.
Don't miss the remarkable, versatile and world-renowned Busk 8 Soweto String Ensemble at its annual performance featuring a wide range of popular music favorites from classical to amapiano. These young musicians will be joined by South Africa's charismatic diva, Sibongile Mngoma, singing jazz, blues and rock songs. The concert takes place at the Linda Auditorium on Sunday, the 3rd of August from 3 p.m. Book now at Quicket.
Imagine 30% off everything for your garden this week only at Stodell's Garden Centres. This special offer is just for Stodell's Garden Club members. Not a Stodell's Garden Club member yet? Simply sign up at Bryanston, Ferndale or Menlo Park and start saving right away. No waiting, no catch. Drop in and see why there's such a buzz about Stodell's. Hurry, offer ends 3rd August. Stodell's Garden Centres. Create happiness.
702 and Corporates That Care with Hirsch's are talking about Hirsch's involvement in the Claire Ellis Brown Preschool.
So the Claire Brown School is just the most beautiful little school. This wonderful teacher came through called Sandra McLaren. She said to me something which I don't know if I should have done, but I did, was come through and visit the school. And the school had a beautiful garden, and growing up in a flat, you didn't have a garden. These little kids that live in the area now have somewhere to go and play, which just seems so special. So I thought, how can we get involved with that? And one of the things I found out was they're looking at their books. Their rates were like through the roof, like 6,000 Rand a month in rates, which was just crazy. So after finding people to speak to at the city council and irritating them for months and months, we got the rate reduced to 100 Rand a year and backdated 10 years.
Wow.
And I thought, geez, we can make it a little bit of a difference here, which was awesome. Then we started fixing up the school and painting and putting new kitchens and finding food for the kids. And we've been doing that for over 20 years.
Hirsch's, proud to help grow bright futures, one child at a time. Learn more at hirsches.co.za. 702. Let's walk the talk.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani and team. I think the minister's a bit disingenuous. We've known for probably 3 years now that AGOA is going out of the door. Why did they not do any work on getting alternative markets then already? We've known this. every analyst I listened to, probably for at least the last 2 years, has said AGOA, it's going to go out of the door. So I think he's a bit disingenuous. Dean Centurion.
Hey, Bongani and the team, you know the situation we find ourselves in. This thing has long been building up. We sent a delegation to the US. I always say nothing came out of that trip to the US. Now we are found wanting. We're trying to circumcise a mosquito here, and the time is moving against us. Clearly, they didn't see this happening. We took everything for granted, keep on passing on. This is the problem we have as a country. My opinion, the guys are not clued up. They didn't do anything. Andy and Bracken-Townsend. Thank you.
Morning, Bongani. Charlotte in Raw Report. You know, I hear what Minister Tawi is saying about the difficulty of the situation. But I also hear his sense of defense every time you ask about contingency plans. I mean, the reality is that his unit is supposed to have the expertise to say, if the US budgets, this is our plan A. If they don't budge, this is our plan B. Worst case scenario, and we have to go to other markets, this is our plan C. But typical South African government, I mean, we're very reactive. Like he says, we will wait and see. Hey?
All right, let me deal with all those voice notes. Firstly, the African Growth and Opportunity Act was always up for renewal on September the 30th, 2025. Donald Trump was only elected to this White House last year. So I don't know what you mean that 3 years ago we knew it was going to expire, because it has been renewed before. And don't forget, it was enacted under a Republican presidency. Yes, Bill Clinton set it in motion as he left the White House in the year 2000, but it was under the first Bush administration. I must be careful which first Bush. It was under the first George W. Bush administration, because there was another Bush before him, but I digress, that it was enacted. So we had no reason to think that even under a Republican administration it would go away. It didn't go away during the first Trump presidency. We didn't think it would necessarily go away 3 years ago. I don't think that's a fair argument. Insofar as a contingency plan, I think it was a fair question to put to the minister. But on the other hand, what kind of contingency plan do you have with somebody who's forever shifting the goalposts? You don't know what he's going to decide from one day to the next. Now, do I think we scored some own goals? I've been consistent that for all his credentials that are obvious to South Africans, the former Deputy Minister of Finance, Mcebisi Jonas, was not the right person to send to the US. I think that matter could have been dealt with far more attention and care. Certainly, I think what Ibrahim Rasool said was true. Was it necessarily his place to say it? I've changed my mind about that. I don't think so. I think we'd have handled this more delicately. But all of that notwithstanding, we've made enormous overtures to the US, and they simply haven't been interested.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance, and it's your chance to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. Today's answer comes from Robbie, who is in Soshanguve. Robbie, what's today's answer?
Morning, Bongani. What's the answer?
Yes, give us the answer.
Oh, sorry. Passenger 57.
Passenger 57.
I thought you said, what's the question?
No, I said, what's the answer, Robbie? Passenger 57. All right, tell me, Robbie, have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance?
No, Bongani.
Why?
I'm losing my vision, Bongani. I'm no longer allowed to drive.
Oh, goodness me, Robbie. I'm sorry to hear that. I really am sorry to hear that. How bad is it?
One eye is lost.
Gosh, I'm really, really sorry.
And there's 60% on the other eye.
On the remaining one. Well, I'll tell you what, good luck to you. And I'm sorry to hear it. Completely understand why you then wouldn't have a quote for car insurance, obviously. Let's make you feel a little better this morning. 1,000 Rand is coming your way. All thanks to Outsurance and 702. You biscuit. There you go. Robbie says the answer is passenger 57. What's the question? Call us if you know on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
Cindy Paluta joining us now with Sport World Athletics, going hard on these gender issues. Cindy?
Absolutely. They've mandated that athletes wanting to compete in the female category for world rankings will have to take a once-off gene test. If the test returns positive for the Y chromosome, the athlete can compete in a non-world ranking competition or another category other than the female one. The test will apply for the World Athletics Champs in September in Tokyo. This weekend, the MTN 8 quarterfinals kick off with Orlando Pirates against Polokwane City on Saturday. Pirates have a new captain in Kosanati Sibisi.
Never in my wildest dream would I have thought I would captain such a big institution, such a great club. You know, I grew up supporting the club, and for me to be given such responsibility, it's a privilege and an honor for me. So I never thought that the day would come where I would be captain for the club, but I'm really honored and grateful to the club for giving me such an opportunity.
In football friendlies, West Ham got a 2-1 win over Everton. Man United beat Bournemouth 4-1 and Liverpool got a 3-1 win over Yokohama Marinos. Reds boss Arne Slot.
So I've seen a few very positive things. For example, us coming back after going 1-0 down. This is something what we did last season a lot of times. Seeing players from the bench impacting the game. Saw more than a few times some very good moments in build-up.
This afternoon, Arsenal takes on Spurs at 1:30. In cricket, the fifth and final test between England and India starts at midday. England leads the series 2-1. India will only decide later if Jasprit Bumrah will play in their must-win match. India captain Shubman Gill.
It's been very exciting, and I'm one day before the last test match here, and I'm very excited and looking forward to play the last test match and hopefully win this one. Level the series for us. It would be a great achievement for us.
At the World Championship of Legends, South Africa playing Australia in the second semi-final today from 6 p.m. In this tournament, AB de Villiers has blasted 2 centuries so far. His last one was actually against Australia. He smashed 123 or 46. And at the World Swimming Champs, South African Chris Smith finished 6th in the 50-metre breaststroke final, just 0.21 seconds behind the winner. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
12 to 8, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by the new Opel Grandland. With smart tech and striking design, it's German engineering on a grand scale. Test drive one today at your nearest Opel dealer. I'm distracted, Amu, because of course the N1 North has some serious issues.
Of course, Bongani, due to a major accident scene, it's causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of the Florida area all the way towards Sharon Lee. This is a major accident that happened just after Bayes Nadia Drive. As a result, we've got about a 20-minute hold-up reported between those 2 points. Please be on the lookout there and try to avoid. The Manyathela North is also backed up between Boysons Road and Empire Road due to roadworks. There's also queuing traffic along the N12 east between the Reading interchange all the way towards the Geldenhuys interchange on the N3 North, also due to an earlier accident there, while the one that happened in Lakefield, Benoni, is still there on the N12 West before Atlas Road. Delays coming out of Snake Road, about a 20-minute hold up there as well. Please drive with care. If you're traveling within those areas that are heavily congested, please be patient on the roads. We'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Great entrance? Forget that. Make a grand entrance. Grand! Be late, make everyone wait, and be grateful they did. Peeps be rubbernecking, staring gormlessly like deer in your 50,000 intelligent LED headlights. Grand! Make a grand entrance in the new Opel Grandland, designed and made in Germany. Achtung, baby. Grand! It's even got massage seats. Obergrand! Visit opel.co.za for more.
Introducing Auto & General's Fire Assist benefit in partnership with Fidelity Secure Fire.
Hi, I'm Zamo Mkhunu. I'm a firefighter and I've faced over 1,000 fires. There's a lot of training. You get punished. You can save things, but really it's about saving lives. I'm a very committed fireman, and with this partnership, I'll be able to help more people.
We make sure you never face the flames alone. Follow our social media for more. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Choose Checkers, SA's #1 value for money supermarket, and save on Knox Hydration Drink 500 mils, any 2 for 28 Rand. Finish dishwasher tablets 45 or 56 pack, any 2 for 419 Rand. And Lindt chocolate product range, buy any and save 20%. Valid until this Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
Step into the foldable culture with the most pocketable flip, the new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7. Do more without opening your phone with handy AI features. Plus, capture style and travel aesthetics to create trend-worthy selfies. Pre-order now for the exclusive double storage offer. 512 gigabytes for the price of 256 gigabytes. Offer valid until 31 July 2025. It's not just a pocket phone. It's the new Galaxy Z Flip 7. T's and C's apply.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance, please tell me what's the question. If the answer is passenger 57, let's go to Fahim in Crosby. Fahim, what's the question?
What's the name of Wesley Snipes' movie, which we celebrate his birthday today, that he acts in?
Yes, indeed. It's one of his many movies. Blade, Money Train, White Men Can't Jump. So many fantastic movies made by Wesley Snipes. He celebrates his birthday today. And I want you to listen to this interview where he talks about his role in a not very well-known movie called To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. I still have the DVD. Hey, Fahim, I still have the DVD of this movie. But no matter for you, congratulations. You've won 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance and 702. And yes, Fahim does have a quote from Outsurance because he's a member. Listen to Wesley Snipes talking about playing a drag queen.
Is it true what I read that you said for inspiration for Noxzema, you drew on your grandmother, Maya Angelou, and Bette Midler?
And Roscoe Lee Brown. You can't leave Roscoe out.
And Roscoe Lee Brown. Yeah. Explain that to me. What parts are which?
My grandmother is the humor, and Bette Midler is the walk, her whole type of a jiggle type of a walk. And Maya and Roscoe, they are they have a command and control over the English language and words. They make words sound like it's a food dish. So I thought that it was a good thing for Noxzema, who is very arts educated and cultural, to be able to use words in a very romantic type of fashion.
If you've ever seen Bette Midler, I can totally see what he means about what he had to do to find out how Noxzema Jackson had to walk. That's an interview, of course, with George Wayne, who is a New York writer, writing for Vanity Fair in the mid-90s. Happy birthday, Wesley Snipes.
If you want to save on your car insurance premium, you call Outsurance, right? But what if you don't save? Well, they'll give you cash just for trying. You heard right. Just ask for 500 Rand cash. But wait, there's more. If you don't save and have been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years, you can ask them for 1,500 Rand cash. Savings or cash, you always get something out.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands. Licensed insurer and FSP, T's, C's, and information online.
So we did a thing. A full commitment kind of thing. We've partnered with Sixt to bring worldwide to your doorstep. So, you see how that's a serious thing? Because that's what you deserve. We know you're the GOAT. So, premium it is. Premium service, premium vehicles, premium you, premium us. Sani Sixt is all about adding extra to ordinary. Extra reach, extra countries, so you can be extra premium worldwide. Be the greatest of all time and rent Sani Sixt.
PG Glass Repair, PG Glass Replace.
I'm Komodo, PG Glass Technician. We use the leading windscreen brand, Shutterproof, PRUFE, to keep you safe.
Visit pg.co.za for trusted quality windscreens.
Gabelo's the go-to guy for renovations. His bakkie is full of tools, ready to build dreams. But one day, a reckless driver takes him out. Now, his bakkie is standing still. No wheels, no money, Kabza. Oh. But with budget, he'd be back on site faster than you can say DIY. Don't let expensive days stop your hustle. Visit budgetinsurance.co.za for a business insurance quote today. Budget is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
To the world of viral content now. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Belle.
Let's look at no one is going to believe me.
This poor guy. So If you play golf, one of the most elusive things is the hole-in-one, right? And not many golfers experience a hole-in-one. In fact, at Copper Leaf on Saturday, I was playing, and the guys in front of me, KG, he got a hole-in-one, and the guys were screaming and shouting and having a great time, obviously. So this poor golfer that we're talking about, he was on the golf course alone. He went and played around by himself. And on a par 3, he got a hole-in-one. Now, that's the worst kind of hole-in-one to get because you got nobody to celebrate, and who's going to believe you, right? So let's take a listen to this video. So he obviously filmed himself after the fact, and walked to the pin where the ball was in the hole, and he talks it through. Let's just take a listen, quick, Bongles.
By myself, 9th hole at Quiet Harbor. You see the divot, ball and hole. The issue is, I am the only soul out here, so not a single person is going to believe me.
Shame. And he didn't even film it.
Guy. No, because the odds are when you're hearing it,
you're
never going. You just think it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Oh, shame.
So I want to know from our 702 family this morning: has something happened to you, right? That there was no witnesses around, there was no photo evidence, no video evidence, and when you went and told people the story, they said, no, that's not true. We don't believe you. Well, come on, who was there to back it up? But there's nobody, and they don't believe you, but you know the story is true. I want to know those stories this morning.
What was one of Kaya Dlanga's books? These things really happened to me. Something like that.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, these things
really,
to me.
They really happened to me. I think it's something like that. Certainly, I think a similar kind of story. All right, have you had something happen to you that was great, that was wonderful, and you thought, but no one is going to believe me? Like, I swear this happened. But no one believes you. Tell us that story. That's what's gone viral with Kabazela.
702. Feedback with Baphelile Sambo.
Baphelile Sambo, have you had a moment like that in your life where you thought...
I think it was when we had Mom Abigail Kubeka and she gave me a kiss.
Yeah.
Thank God somebody captured that moment because no one was going to believe that Mom Abigail kissed me.
You're so innocent. I could tell you about some kisses, but you won't believe me.
Ooh.
What else do you have?
Bongani 702 lenders are buzzing this morning. We've had strong reactions to our question. Are you a good listener or are you a bad listener?
Yes.
Many are saying it depends on the topic. If the topic is interesting, the story is interesting, then they are good listeners. But if not, they're like,
Get it going. Are you a good listener?
I think I am a good listener. I give people a chance, a fair chance, but I'm always like quick to say I know how to respond, but I give you the benefit of listening to you.
So you're a good hearer.
I'm a good hearer. I'm a good hearer.
Big difference between listener and hearer.
I hear you, Bongani. Others are pointing out that factors like ADHD should be considered. Yeah. Like
Fair
a
enough.
John instance. And
Fair
our
enough.
big interview, listeners are saying that the trade relations with the US, it was always a losing battle. Some are even citing President Donald Trump's possible decision to skip the G20 this coming later this year as further proof. And we know that Donald Trump said that this tariff deadline will not be extended. And as the Minister Pakstawu said, we will wait and see. And we are waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the D-Day is tomorrow. I don't think we're going to get any kind of deal. I think South Africa now has to pivot. As you heard from Dr. McNamee, the 3 strikes against us is the ICJ situation. A lot of the disinformation around transformation and BEE and so-called white genocide, something Trump is still repeating. And, of course, our perceived support of Russia. I think those were 3 political strikes, and I'm still insisting this had very little to do with trade, and that's why I have some sympathy for Minister Pakstawu, because how do you negotiate in an environment where the people you are talking to know you need this from them, but they have other considerations in their minds, no matter what it is you are offering them? I think it's a really, really tough situation for the country. So now we brace ourselves for what comes next. It's 8 o'clock.
This is EWN.
The acting Deputy Chief Justice to hang his ropes at the Apex Court, and the Reserve Bank prepares to announce its latest monetary policy decision. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. With Acting Deputy Chief Justice Mbuyiseni Madlanga expected to mark his last day on the Constitutional Court bench, his final judgment will be the much-anticipated battle between Vodacom and Nkosana Makate. Madlanga leaves after serving 17 years on the bench. The acting Chief Justice will complete his duties at the Apex Court to take on the task of chairing the Judicial Commission of Inquiry investigating the explosive allegations recently made by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Khomoso Modise has more.
After a career of 17 years on the bench, acting Deputy Chief Justice Mbuyiseni Madlanga will hang his robes today in the Constitutional Court. The court will have a special ceremony in his honor as he says his goodbyes. Madlanga's career on the bench started at the Umtata High Court in 1996, where he was appointed judge at the young age of 34, making him the youngest judge at the time. In 2001, Judge Madlanga left the bench and returned to the bar as senior counsel, but he would eventually return as a judge and was ultimately appointed to the Constitutional Court in 2013. Today, Madlanga will deliver his final judgment involving Vodacom and Please Call Me's Nkosana Makate. The telecommunications giant is challenging the Supreme Court's ruling that said it should pay Makate between 29 and 53 billion rand instead of its 47 million rand offer. Khomoso Modise, Eyewitness News.
Some economists believe the Reserve Bank's Monetary Policy Committee will make another repo rate cut when the central bank decides on its benchmark rate today. The July meeting comes amid heightened external risks and global policy uncertainty pushed up by the looming US tariffs on all the country's trading partners. Despite that and the slight uptick in the June inflation print, analysts say there's room for softer interest rates for consumers buckling under debt. No Kayam Dambo reports.
Inflation inched higher from 2.8% in May to 3% in June, still comfortably below the Reserve Bank's 4.5% midpoint target. Only warning of the impact of food prices, inflation remains tame and the risks to the outlook relatively balanced. Economists at Nedbank predict a 25 basis point cut. They believe the sources of upward pressure remain few and isolated. Economist at Sanlam Investments, Patrick Buthelezi, says while there are risks to inflation in the second half of the year due to food and administered prices, he says the country doesn't have an inflation problem. The current repo rate stands at 7.25% and the prime rate at 10.75%, which is still some 100 basis points higher compared to the pre-pandemic rate in January 2020. Nogukanyam Dambo, Eyewitness News.
EFF leader Julius Malema says he won't hesitate to sue Patriotic Alliance leader Gayton McKenzie for bad-mouthing him. In the latest round of potshots, McKenzie called Malema stupid, a gossip and a bank robber in a social media message to his party supporters on Monday. Responding on EWN's politicking, Malema said he won't take it lying down and that despite the coalition in the city of Johannesburg, he doesn't view the PA as an ally. Lindsay Dentlinker takes a look.
In a wide-ranging message to PA supporters, party leader Gayton McKenzie also took a swipe at the EFF's Julius Malema, following the Red Berets' 12th birthday rally in Cape Town last weekend, saying the PA had been slamming the EFF in by-elections. McKenzie told supporters the EFF is in ICU, that Malema gossips without facts and can't prove how he funds his lavish lifestyle.
Me and him, we are ex-criminal colleagues. I used to rob banks, he used to do VBS, he's robbing banks too.
Responding to McKenzie's claims on EWN's Politricking podcast, Malema referred to McKenzie as a prisoner and says over the years the EFF's learned to accept the VBS jibes.
I've never robbed anything in my entire life. Never.
Malema, who has already filed 2 defamation suits against the PA's Deputy President Kenny Kunene and won one of them, says he won't hesitate to strike again for this latest round of insults. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And Israeli forces have killed at least 30 people when they opened fire on a crowd waiting for humanitarian aid in the north of the Palestinian territory of Gaza. Gaza Civil Defense spokesperson Mahmoud Bazal says at least 300 people were wounded when Israeli forces opened fire on people waiting for aid in the north of the Gaza city yesterday. The Israeli military says it has no knowledge of casualties in the attack. Meanwhile, officials in Gaza say hours later, 14 Palestinians were killed in 4 other incidents, 3 near 8 distribution sites. In 2 of the incidents, the Israeli army said it had fired warning shots. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney, who has announced that his country wants to recognize an independent state for Palestinians, says the suffering must end.
The level of human suffering in Gaza is intolerable. Canada will increase its efforts in supporting strong democratic governance in Palestine.
Gold is trading at $3,296.42 an ounce. The rand is at 17.95 to the dollar, 23.82 to the pound, 20.54 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $73.05 a barrel.
Traffic remains heavily backed up on the N12 East between the Reading interchange and the Elands interchange. This is due to a major accident seen while traveling on the N1 North. Another accident right near Bearsnodia Drive causing massive queues coming out of Albertina Sisulu Road.
And in your sport, a new dawn for Orlando Pirates with a new coach, and they've appointed Nkosinati Sibisi as captain. England without Ben Stokes for the 5th and final test with India starting this afternoon. And World Athletics mandates gene testing for female athletes who want to compete in world ranking events.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 20 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, with Acting Deputy Chief Justice Mbuyiseni Madlanga expected to mark his last day on the Constitutional Court bench. His final judgment will be the much anticipated battle between Vodacom and Nkosana Makate.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Gosh, what a week in South African politics, in South African current affairs. Welcome to 702 Breakfast. If you've just joined us, my name is Bongani Bingwa. We're, of course, looking at the big story of the moment in our zeitgeist, those tariffs imposed by the Trump White House. We're not the only country, and we're certainly not the only country that has displeased this US president and therefore had these tariffs imposed on us. Many countries have been scrambling to try and come up with alternative measures, countermeasures to deal with a capricious, unpredictable president. One day he says this, the next it's something else entirely. How do you even begin to negotiate? I'd love to hear from people who've been part of, say, lobola negotiations. Imagine negotiating with uncles who essentially don't want this marriage to take place. And so no matter what you offer, they change the goalposts, right? They penalize you for not waiting under a tree as you came into the yard. They penalize you for not sending a little child to announce your arrival. Because of course, if anybody's been part of lobola negotiations, they can be that intricate. Where if you are a Paluca, coming from perhaps the urban environment, you've never seen these things before. And each time it's whippy, whippy, whippy. Hey? So I have enormous sympathy, actually, for Minister Park Stow. As a friend of mine said, he's a serious person trying to do a serious job. But we also have to think about the fact that this was always a possibility. The fact that we had that moment at the Oval Office that gotcha, right? Look at the cameras. This was always a possibility. What was the contingency plan? Is that even a fair question to pose, Muteo Khwaripe? Because, as I put it to the minister, whatever plan you must now scramble to find is going to take months to execute. I mean, you can't just replace America. You can't just replace the American consumer. It's rather like knowing your relationship is coming to an end and someone says, well, find somebody else as sweet and as lovely.
I think had we had a head start of about 10 to 15 years looking at other markets, taking seriously the Africa Free Trade Agreement, actioning those points before we got to this particular US impasse, then we would have had a chance. But you can't just uproot a market like the Citrus Growers Association, who sends some of their best oranges to the US for top dollar, if you will, and then ask them to look for another market, because there are regulations how the products are moved, the fridges that they use are specified. If you go to the EU, they want different fridges, and that's a whole lot of cost. And remember, for 25 years, we sent those oranges there on preferential rates. You get to another country, they say, we'll tariff you 15%.
Sorry.
So
Sorry
it's
for you.
not very easy to do the switch. But I think it is time to do so, because we've seen we find ourselves very trapped when a country like the US starts to weaponize things like tariffs.
You know what the pity is? I think so many of us are so used to deflection and incompetence and dishonesty that even when a minister like Pakstow comes on and says, hey, Bafetu, we did the best we could. We spoke to these guys last night. I mean, that was his opening salvo. He said, we spoke to these guys last night. I mean, that's how late this thing has been going. And still people want to say, I understand where it comes from. But I wouldn't want to be in his shoes, because I think that's a heck of a job.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Top of the morning, Mr. Bingwa and 702 lenders. Big ups to you, sir, for how you responded to the 2 voice notes concerning your interview with the minister. Indeed, AGOA was always up for renewal. And also, how do you have contingency plan for someone who is always communalising his position, right, on matters and issues? Yeah, I think I'd appoint you as a DG for the Department of Trade and Industry. How's that? Thanks for a great show.
No,
Tepo in Boxburg.
Listen, the thing that let me tell you a secret about most journalists, right? We are generalists. We know a little bit about everything. But after about 10 minutes, we really aren't that clever, right? Because we run out of the little bits that we know. Shh, I didn't say it out too loud. Then you get the specialist journalists like a Muteo Hwaripe, who will talk for hours and hours and hours on business and the economy and interest rates, etc., etc., etc. Or you get Etsiri Madia, who knows everything there is to know about politics. But for most of us who are generalists, we know a little bit about everything. So for 5-10 minutes, we might impress you. But as time goes on, unless we really, really, really prepare, it runs out the juice, eh? It runs out. And it's fine, because the best description I give for my job is I get paid to learn. Every day I learn things I would otherwise never know. I mean, isn't that the best gig in the world, Muteo?
Yeah, where you don't get embarrassed asking questions. You know, you can ask any question you like, and you don't feel like you're stupid.
Yeah, nobody expects you to know this stuff.
To learn something new. Yeah,
go learn this. Go learn about that. Now you put me as a TG. You wouldn't get a deal with Zimbabwe, never mind the US.
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Good morning, Bongani. This is Marvin from the Eastern Cape. I think Advocate Dali Mpofu got a point. So if there's allegations against a minister, he or she must approach the court to set that report aside. So we cannot institute another commission to institute the report, to study the report. But the courts are there to interpret the Zondo Commission's finding.
Good morning, Bongos. Good morning, team. Advocate Dalimpofi, even though I hate to agree with the guy because that's not a good look, but I think he's got a point. The president can fire you without giving reasons, especially members of the executive, ministers, deputy ministers. I mean, just recently, Nobuhle Nkabane was fired. No reasons were given.
Good morning, Bongani. Doug here. Just a quick one. Dali Mpofu's argument to the Constitutional Court should be very, very simple. He should say, we know that judicial inquiries don't work because the Zondo Commission implicated my client, who's the biggest criminal in South Africa, and he's still roaming around scot-free. So why will it change for the general? Thank you. Cheers.
Ooh, I see what you did there. Ooh, okay, you took it there. I mean, fair is fair. Fair is fair. I played you earlier the case of the presidents, right? In the blue corner, we have this president. In the red corner, we have that president. It's all playing itself out at the Constitutional Court. Former President Jacob Zuma wanting the decision by President Ramaphosa to appoint an acting police minister and a commission of inquiry to investigate the claims of General Mkhwanazi to be set aside. The president making the argument that he couldn't just fire Senzo Mchunu without due process being concluded. And advocate Dali Mpofu arguing yesterday, what do you mean? We had the Zondo Commission. That was concluded, and yet you promoted the very people against whom that commission found negatively. So what's going to change here? I thought it was a damn good question.
EWN Traffic.
17 minutes after 8 o'clock. Amo, let's check with you now. How the roads looking? Are things easing up a little bit now that it's after 8?
Well, Bongani, not if you are traveling in the southeast of Joburg this morning. Alberton, Marysdale, as well as Germiston. The route around these areas remains heavily backed up due to an accident seen on the N3 North right near the Geldenhuys interchange. Delays from the Reading interchange. And there's also roadworks that are taking place right at the Reading interchange. So the delays on the R59 North are as you come out of Nelson Mandela Avenue. And then if you're traveling on the N3 North towards the Rand Airport interchange, also expect queuing traffic there out of Grey Avenue. This is in the Alberton Germiston area. Otherwise, on the M1 North, some delays at the Killarney Bends due to an accident after Houghton Drive. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care. I'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
To every 702 lander who laced up, showed up and walked with us this past Sunday, thank you. The 702 family loved every moment walking, talking and connecting with you on the route. You made the 702 Walk the Talk one for the books for 2025 and we can't wait to do it all again with you next year. So here's to 702 landers and here's to you and the 2025 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane.
My family's struggling with snotty noses and phlegmy coughs.
Oh no! Have you tried ACC?
ACC 600 is a convenient one-a-day effervescent tablet from 14 years of age. Or now also in a no-water-needed, fruity-flavored sherbet-like granules that dissolve in your mouth. Ideal for the on-the-go adult. Ask for ACC 600 effervescent or oral powder at your nearest pharmacy to get rid of the snotties and phlegmings. And trust, if it doesn't say ACC, it's not ACC.
You've been supporting the boys your whole life.
Don't you feel like a crime?
They never gave up. And now they've made it to the finals. The finals!
Don't you feel like crying?
But you're on your couch, 12,000 kilometers away.
Don't you feel like a cry?
You can only imagine what it would feel like to actually be there.
Crying.
Now imagine not just being there, but getting seats 5 rows up at the halfway line.
Oh, yes!
Invest early. You'll be so happy you did. Coronation. Trust is earned. Coronation is a registered FSP.
Are you looking for the best savings on spectacles? At Specsavers, enjoy 1,500 Rand off when you get tested at South Africa's trusted and most established optical group. Get 1,500 Rand off all frames in store or use your 1,500 Rand off on our leading lens enhancements, such as drive light lenses that reduce artificial glare whilst driving. Book online or call your nearest store today. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
It's the remarkable, versatile, world-renowned Busk-Aid Soweto String Ensemble. And it's their first performance this year. It's the annual one. And they're going to be featuring a wide range of popular music, African favorites, classical, amapiano. They're also going to be singing with the charismatic diva Sibongile Mngoma. It's happening this Sunday, the 3rd of August, at the Linda Auditorium. Rosemary Nalden is the founder and director of Busk-Aid Music School. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. I mean, I was just playing one of the songs that Busk-Aid has performed, Itemba, before, and it's going to be a fantastic afternoon at the Linda, isn't it, Rosemary? Good morning.
Good morning, Bongani. More than fantastic, unbelievable, and unique.
You guys turned 28 this year.
Yes, we have. I've turned something a bit more than 28, but we've turned 28, yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about the journey of Busk-Aid Soweto, this ensemble, who the performers are, how you select them to be a part of this great, great ensemble, blending, of course, classical and township music together?
Okay, so we've never gone out and searched for young people, mainly in Diepkloof, to come to Busk-Aid. They come to us, and in the olden days, they came by themselves. They followed somebody else. Now, parents do turn up, but it's mainly the kids that just pop up and see somebody walking to Busk-Aid with a violin and follow them, and then come in and say, we want to mainly learn the violin, but we put them on all sorts of other instruments, viola, cello, double bass. But we started in a tiny little church hall, well, not even a hall, it was a study, a priest study in Diepkloof, with just a few kids from an existing project that I heard when I was in England in 1992. And I came out here and I was just transfixed. It was next to the Mandela squatter camp, which is long since gone. And these kids were pouring in and just wanting to play music, and classical music, which, you know, was pretty fascinating for me. And that's how we started, because I started with 15 kids and we've had thousands come to Busk-Aid and either become very well-known professional musicians, or they've gone into the corporate world, but they carry with them the influence of having played a musical instrument.
And the discipline.
Which is huge.
Yeah, the
and
discipline, the patience, the focus, the reward that comes with learning a particular skill. Can you give us a sneak peek perhaps at some of the classics you'll be performing, both African in terms of local music and classical music?
Well, we're starting off with some what you might think is serious Baroque music, but it's not, because we're acting it. And, you know, all of the youngsters that come to Busk-Aid do not have any creative opportunity at school. There are no drama classes. There's very little music, sadly, unless there's a choir. So we decided to pull in some of our school-going kids and enact the story. It's the story of Don Quixote, and they've never acted before, and it's been such fun. And Sibongile helped with them with the acting. So then we move on to something a little bit more romantic. There's Sidiso Boicano playing a virtuoso gypsy piece. There's the very well-known Sati Jimnyo, but people, it doesn't even matter if I say what they are, because people will know, because they've been used for ads so much. Then we're playing some film music from the 50s. I don't know whether you've ever seen Psycho. But
yes.
So we're playing that score.
I won't scream. I won't scream. I promise you. Maybe come and scream on Sunday. Hey, Rosemary. Listen, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Linda Auditorium, the Busgate Soweto String Ensemble back once again. It's at 3 p.m. the performances, and you can get your tickets via Quicket. And come and support these kids who, but for this opportunity, would not be playing these musical instruments, because I think this is an absolutely fantastic idea.
702, The World View
with Adam Gilchrist.
Talking of music, Adam, a very good morning to you. Thousands in Birmingham paying emotional tributes to Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes, his funeral's taken place, his private funeral, but a very public procession in advance. And there were thousands of people lining the route as the hearse went by. He played his final gig at Villa Park 3 weeks ago, Villa Park in Aston, where he grew up, as that part of Birmingham. There is a slight thing, I suppose, that if you take over the centre of a city, there'll be thousands of people there anyway who will be forced to sort of stand to one side whilst the funeral cortege goes past. But at the same time, a lot of people seem to be there specifically for him. You could kind of tell by the eye makeup sometimes. But I also love the fact that Ozzy's hearse was accompanied by a very funky soul brass band. Maybe they just thought heavy metal, heavy rock wouldn't have been quite right. So for his final send-off, he got a brass band, sort of, I guess, New Orleans style almost.
It's a symptom of the universe, Adam. All right, talk to me about the Aussies and YouTube.
Yeah, well, we're all kind of grappling with this, aren't we, on social media and its influence on children and how far that influence should be allowed to go, and are there the checks and balances on those platforms. Well, Australia, we sometimes look to Australia because they kind of pioneer some of these laws that sometimes work and sometimes don't. In this case, from December, we know they're going to limit the children's use of TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, and Snapchat, but they've also now thrown into the mix YouTube. So whilst under 16s will still be able to see some stuff on YouTube, they won't be able to have an account, which means there's other stuff they won't be able to see, at least not directly up front, which is interesting. I mean, YouTube is often seen as innocuous. You know, you can watch all sorts of stuff there, but obviously there's the other stuff as well that our children need protection from, I guess. That's the point. So at the very stage that YouTube seems to be taking over the world as a streaming platform and a place to watch stuff, not just videos of each other, but, you know, actual programs, others are saying, hang on a moment, let's just curb it a little bit and see where we are with our kids.
Gosh, I mean, even YouTube Kids, I wonder what they're going to do about that, Adam. Now, where is Paul Hogan, a.k.a. Crocodile Dundee, when you need him?
Yeah, he wasn't there with his big knife. An Italian town terrorized by a crocodile for 3 days. 3. And of course, being Italy, this is a country that doesn't have any crocodiles. So police and animal control officers and sniffer dogs and any number of volunteers were brought in. They used drones at one stage to track down where this crocodile was, somewhere near a river in Ladispoli, which is sort of up the road from Rome. And it turns out, you probably have already guessed it, the menacing croc was an inflatable toy. Amazingly. For 3 days, nobody picked up on the fact that the reptile was always in an identical pose, sort of head slightly up, mouth slightly open, although I suppose crocodiles do stay still. But still, for 3 days, it had apparently been left by a family for other children to play with on the beach, which is a lovely thing to do, not at all terrifying. The comment from the mayor of Ladispoli, Alessandro Grando: "We thank the police, volunteers and all citizens for their cooperation and patience. It was a toy!" How extraordinary.
Did somebody say freeze? We'll leave it there with this World View with Adam Gilchrist.
EWN Business.
All right, let's wrap up our business news for the morning, Matero. The IMF's forecast for South Africa remaining subdued, as you might expect, under these headwinds.
Yeah, the International Monetary Fund has kept South Africa's growth forecast unchanged at a meager 1% for 2025. South Africa's growth is forecast to also increase to 1.3% in 2026, while the global growth number is far more positive at 3% growth, increase from 2.8% that was forecast in April. The international lender has warned that U.S. tariffs could have a higher impact on global growth than previously forecast.
Are salaries remaining stable?
Yeah, many South Africans may feel that's untrue given their bank accounts, but Banks of Africa says salaries are stable in the country. The index in June showing that salaries at around 17,310 Rand, showing a marginal drop of 15 Rand from May's 17,325. Now, the index tracks the salaries of around 4 million South African employees who are paid through the national payment system. It was the favorable inflation environment in the country currently and anticipated interest rate cut this week that is expected to provide some more relief to salary earners in South Africa.
People will say it's not what comes in, it's what goes out that worries them. Where's the Rand?
17 Rand 96, getting closer to that 18 Rand mark against the dollar, 20 Rand 53 cents against the euro, and weaker against the British pound at 23 Rand 83 cents. Price of gold closer to that 1% mark at $3,302 an ounce, while platinum is also positive at $1,321. Brent crude now at $72.43 a barrel. Stephen Grotes will give you the latest around the SARB's decision on interest rates later this afternoon.
To the news desk now we go. It's exactly 8:31. Sfisa Zulu, what do you have at this hour?
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. A 26-year-old man who allegedly orchestrated the killing of a DA councillor while in prison is due to appear in court today. The DA's chief whip in Bongani municipality, Nhlalayenza Ndlovu, was killed in front of his family in 2023. Yesterday, the SAPS political Killings task team arrested a 26-year-old suspect and a 56-year-old traditional leader in connection with the murder. The latest arrest means a total of 4 people now stand accused of the councillor's murder. The DA's KwaZulu-Natal leader, Francois Rogers, says the party will be attending today's court proceedings.
We trust that the prosecuting authority now has its ducks in a row so that we can get to some conclusion and there can be accountability and consequence in what was a senseless and brutal murder of a public representative in front of his wife and small children.
In the capital, while police have confirmed that ANC Secretary in Tshwane George Matjila handed himself over to the Sunnyside police station, he denies ever being arrested. Matjila has been accused of assault by a fellow ANC member in the region who laid a common assault case against him. Gauteng police have confirmed that Matjila was released on warning and is due to appear in court on the 21st of next month. And despite the police confirmation, Matjila doesn't consider this an arrest.
I was never arrested. I went to the police station to make a statement. Remember, it's a matter of a common assault. So it's just a political case, this thing.
And Canada has joined a list of Western countries who now want to recognize an independent state for Palestinians. Prime Minister Mark Carney says this will happen at the UN General Assembly in September in a dramatic policy shift that was immediately rejected by Israel. It makes Canada the third country following recent announcement by France and the United Kingdom that could recognize a Palestinian state in September. Israel blasted Canada's announcement as part of a distorted campaign of international pressure. Carney says the worsening suffering of civilians in Gaza leaves no room for delay in coordinated international action to support peace.
This intention is predicated on the Palestinian Authority's commitment to much-needed reform, including commitments by the Palestinian Authority's President Abbas to fundamentally reform its government, to hold general elections in 2026 in which Hamas can play no part, and to demilitarize the Palestinian state.
A fine day in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures will peak at highs between 20 and 21 degrees.
And in the traffic, we still have got that major accident scene in the Germiston area on the N3 North. It happened right near the Geldenes interchange. Delays as you come out of the Reading interchange. Please be on the lookout there. Traffic is also backed up along the N3 North through Grey Avenue, so please approach with care.
The top story this hour, a 26-year-old man who allegedly orchestrated the killing of a DA councillor in KZN while in prison is due to appear in court today.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Would there be any action being taken by him?
People want to see big profile names behind bars. With respect to the members of the executive who are implicated in the Commission's report, you and the listeners will recall that those individuals have exercised a right that's available within our legal system to take that report on review. Until such time, the President cannot apply any punitive measures against those individuals when they're going through process.
The Midday Report
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
You just heard about them, so don't miss Buscade's one and only Joburg appearance in 2025. They're a remarkable, world-renowned string ensemble from Soweto, and they'll be performing a wide range of popular favorites from classical to amapiano, and of course joined by the charismatic diva Sibongile Mngoma, singing jazz, blues, and rock songs. It's on at the Linda Auditorium this Sunday, the 3rd of August at 3 p.m. Book now at Quicket.
Celebrate the horse racing season of champions with Hollywood bets and saddle up for sensational success. Stand a chance to win a spectacular share of over 2 million rand in prizes, including a brand new Amoda C5 or C7. All you have to do is bet 50 rand or more on any horse racing event for a shot at your crowning moment. Take the reins and get ready to gallop to grand rewards. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bets supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
At Bright, we don't just provide business insurance. We insure your business's
future success.
Because your business is so much more than desks and computers and equipment, which is why we use our specialist expertise to tailor solutions for each client differently to ensure what's really important. So ensure your businesses.
Financial security,
With Bright today, contact your broker or go to brightinsure.co.za to find out more. Bright, approach risk with purpose. Bright is a licensed insurer and authorized FSP.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Hi, Bongs, the team, and Kabazela. Mine, even now, people actually still don't believe me that I was a 14-year-old, decided to take my bike and then cycled from my hometown, which is in Flinders of Northwest, to Portchester. And then the distance is like 55 kilometers. And I went just to go and see my mom. Till today.
I'm hearing from my friends here that you just mentioned my name on radio. You must tell me these things, man, so that I'm tuned in and I can prove to the kids that Daddy is more famous than they think. Cool, thank you. Sure, bye.
All right, if you've just joined us and you're wondering what on earth is all that about, so the last voice note is from a guy called KG, who was featured in Kabazela's What's Gone Viral, because he made a video about being able to get a hole-in-one playing golf, but there was no one else around him. So he makes this video and he says, no one's going to believe me. And we were talking about those things that have happened to you, but no one's going to believe you. And you've got a story, and it's a fantastic story, but it wasn't on camera. And you think, oh gosh, no one's going to believe me. So guess what? Somebody clearly did believe him, because he was then told, hey, they're talking about you there by 702. So now he sent us a voice note to say, tell me when you guys do these things. I can show my kids I am famous. Amo, you've got a stories?
You know, I used to play netball in primary school, and we had such a beautiful uniform.
Does anyone believe you?
In my no one believes me, Bongs. And I played. My mom doesn't believe. My brother and sister, they do not believe me, and I don't know why. But I played. I washed my uniform. I hung it every single day.
They thought it was what?
I don't know. They say there's no way. You, netball, never. You never played netball. I don't know.
They don't remember.
Maybe they don't remember, but they don't believe me.
Now.
Because there were no cameras. We didn't take pictures or videos of this.
No selfies.
No selfies. Nothing.
But
none whatsoever.
At the time they knew you were playing netball.
They say they don't know. They don't know. They don't remember. I never played. That's what they say.
You poor thing. Shame.
I'm
At least
so
your
mad
kids
about
believe
that.
you.
They do. They really do.
Yeah, you must teach them both netball and then they'll see your skills. Cindy Paluta, any amazing thing or some story that you thought, oh gosh, no one's going to believe this. This happened to me.
That's my life on the daily. I swear. I phone my husband at least once every 2 or 3 days with a story and I go, you're not going to believe what just happened to me in the store, or you're not going to believe what just happened, XYZ.
I have these friends, a married couple, and they're really, really good friends, which is part of what's fun in terms of being around them. And their favorite thing to do when they're apart is they go and collect topics so that when they come back, they will say, oh, you're not going to believe. You're not going to believe. So whenever I'm hanging with one of them, she's always saying to us, oh, we're collecting topics. I'm collecting topics. What's the latest on? What's the latest on?
Hi, Bongani. With regards to you guys as journalists having the best job, that's actually so true, hey? Especially if you have an inquisitive mind, you get to learn new things every day. It literally is one of the best jobs out there. You remain young somewhat, don't you think? Wow, man. Actually, that's really kind of awesome.
EWN Sport.
Aw, thank you very much. I said that we as journos get paid to learn. I mean, there's no better job, I think, in the world than that.
My job is the best. I get paid to watch
football,
sports.
right?
Oh, my word. It's like, sorry, I have to watch this right now. It's
such torture.
The best live TV ever. The best reality TV. Sport. Oh, the best thing. I love it.
I still don't have the new jersey, but we have a new captain.
For?
Orlando Pirates.
Ah.
Hint, hint.
Maybe they don't have one yet. Maybe they're still designing it.
No, I think there's some pictures out.
Okay.
Looking grayish,
Is
right,
it?
Amo?
Yeah,
Looks
it is
grayish.
out.
Yeah,
It's
it is
grey.
out. Yeah.
That's the away jersey, though. The home jersey is black and red, almost similar to the last
year's
season's
one.
one. Yeah.
Ah. So I don't have the new jersey, but I know we have a new captain.
Okay. I'm sure you can go
go buy
buy
one.
the jersey, Bongani, if you're a
No,
true
I'm hinting
fan.
to the team.
Because if you go buy the jersey, then the more merchandise that gets bought, the better players you can
Yes.
buy.
Yes.
Yes.
Ah.
Orlando Pirates announcing that Kosanati CBC is the new captain in place of Innocent Mayela. It's a new era for the club. They also have a new coach, Abedislam Wadu. Here's CBC on the new coach.
Yeah, the team has adapted quite well. I think everyone saw a glimpse of what we're trying to do during our preseason games in Spain. Now it's the real test, those were trials. So now it's the real test on Saturday. But, we are confident on how we're going to perform on Saturday, and hopefully we'll get the results at home.
The team opens their season against Polokwane City this weekend in an MTN 8 quarterfinal. Friendlies this afternoon. Arsenal are playing Tottenham Hotspur. That's at 1:30. Speaking of kit, Mikel Arteta had the most stunning Adidas zip-up sweat jersey on in one of their preseason warm-ups. It was blue and it had this bright orange pink the 3 stripes on the side.
Yeah.
I've never wanted to support a team so badly because of a jersey, and I actually think I might just buy it because it was so beautiful.
buy 2.
Anyway, back to the
You
sport.
can buy 2.
Yeah?
One for you. I'm a large.
You can buy one for yourself. The last day also, West Ham beat Everton 2-1, Man United beat Bournemouth 4-1, and Liverpool came from a goal down to beat Yokohama Marinos 3-1. In cricket, the 5th and final test between England and India starts at midday. England leads the series 2-1. They're going for a series win, and will have to do so without captain Ben Stokes. He has a shoulder injury. While New Zealand are 92 without loss going into day 2 of the first test in reply to Zimbabwe's 149. Matt Henry took 6 wickets yesterday. At the World Championship of Legends, South Africa will play Australia in the second semi-final today from 6 p.m. AB de Villiers has already smashed 2 centuries in this tournament. The winner plays Pakistan in the final after India withdrew from their semi-final, citing the ongoing political tension between those 2 countries. World Athletics mandating that athletes wanting to compete in the female category for world rankings will have to take a once-off gene test. The decision takes effect from September the 1st and will apply for the World Athletics Champs in September. And at the World Swimming Champs, South African Chris Smith finished 6th in the 50-meter breaststroke final, just 0.21 seconds behind the winner. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for real estate agencies, law firms, computer services and more. Jacqueline.
We saved a lot of money when we switched over from another insurance company to Business Outsurance. We've had some claims and they were friendly and efficient and paid out when they promised.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
Heads up, Gauteng motorists. Sanral is implementing nighttime roadworks on the N3 between Geldernes and Baklu from May 20th, 2025 to January 31st, 2027. Expect partial lane closures from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. One lane will stay open in each direction. Please plan your trips, slow down and follow all signs and signals, and exercise caution when navigating affected areas. Sanral remains committed to improving safety and the quality of our national roads. Sanral, an agency of the Department of Transport.
If you want to know about the heart and art of jazz, look no further than the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival, a grand ensemble of over 50 world-class acts across 4 stages for 3 whole days. That's right, from the 26th, 27th and 28th of September. The Sandton Convention Center will be demure and sophisticated as the fine Standard Bank Joy of Jazz 2025 takes you deep into the heart, the art and splendor of jazz. Take me there. Book your seat via Ticketmaster now.
EWN Traffic.
Been a busy morning, lots of issues in Ekurhuleni. What's the latest, Amo?
Well, if you're still traveling through Mayorstyle, Alberton and Germiston, do expect heavy traffic volumes due to that accident right near the Geldernes interchange, Bongani. As a result, we have got traffic that's backed up coming out of the Reading interchange, as well as on the N3 North coming out of the Rand Airport interchange all the way through Grey Avenue. So today, it's really a mess around these areas. Please try to avoid. But the accident that was reported in Pinoni, the 3-car pileup, has been cleared right near Atlas Road. Traffic is flowing there. I'll have more updates for you at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Coming up
on the Clement Manyathela Show
on 702.
Very good morning to you, Clement Manyathela in the studio. It's a Thursday.
My favorite day of the week.
Because we're hanging out with...
Well, no, it's a favorite day because it's close to the weekend.
You can
For
see
me,
it over there.
I can see it because the weekend starts
You're
tomorrow.
like, yeah, weekend.
Ashile weekend. So today on the 702 open line, we are going to reflect on the fascinating legal arguments in the Constitutional Court yesterday.
Right?
Fascinating stuff.
And what made it so interesting for me was that there were points at which both sides were weak, and there were points at which both sides were strong.
Yeah.
So you couldn't quite say...
You couldn't.
You know?
Normally, after you hear, you're able to at least make up your mind that I'm more leaning towards this. And I must say, the arguments were strong, there were weaknesses, there were strengths, and I'm still on the fence.
Look, I think the Commission of Inquiry won. I don't think MK and JZ are going to win for that to be set aside, particularly based on the arguments they were making about the tainted judiciary. But I think on the setting aside of, or at least the placing on suspension of the minister and appointing acting ones, I wasn't so sure.
Yeah.
The only thing perhaps will be direct access.
Which is the biggest hurdle, actually, here.
Yeah.
Because they have to, because in fact, Dalimpofu did concede that we could have gone there, but it's going to take so long.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of urgency.
Yes. And I wonder if they've been able to prove to the court that this was the right decision. So we'll find out when the judgment is handed out. So we'll play some clips from those legal arguments yesterday. I'd like some listeners' thoughts on that, like where are they leaning towards? We'll also talk about this issue in Tshwane. The DA is opposed to the possible sale or lease of the Pretoria City Hall to the Iranian embassy. The Iranian embassy has approached the municipality over the possibility of handing over the City Hall to it, which has been in operation for about a decade. So the DA says, no, you're going to make things worse with the US. Don't even think about it. Tshwane is still considering it. What's the best way to go there? At 10 o'clock, we do the hanging out. Yeah?
What?
Yeah, Tshwane is now considering whether it should lease.
So the US will be upset with us because we leased a building to Iran.
Well, I think the DA does have a point because the US doesn't even want us to have a chat. I bet you if Ramaphosa said hi to the Iranians, the US is still going to take issue with
the
that.
Iranians are here in South Africa and they have a presence here.
Well,
we can't lease a building.
Well, tell that to Trump.
There's nothing you can tell Trump.
Exactly.
So we might as
they
well
would
lease
be
the
angry
building
if
and
you
make
wave
money.
at the Iranians.
Exactly.
Trump will still be angry.
Exactly.
So we'll speak about that as well. On the Hanging Out feature, we're going to be hanging out with Nhlanhla Mafu, the lead singer from Mafiki Zolo. She's a powerhouse. She's been in the industry for over 20 years, making us dance. So
you
we'll
should have dressed up for her.
Am I not dressed up for her? What are you saying about my outfit?
You're wearing a rugby jersey that's black and
This
white.
is not a rugby jersey.
It is a rugby jersey.
Oh my goodness. At least they can see.
That looks
Actually,
like it's from
YouTubers. Can you vote yay or
No.
nay, please?
So he's got this fantastic musician who is a fashionista of
icon.
nose. And you are dressed in a rugby jersey like you're going to a braai at my house on Saturday.
No. Guys on YouTube, yay or nay, please
Little
vote.
stripes are thing.
This
The
is a
black
beautiful
parts,
top.
They're looking charcoal.
I vote for my own top. And then we're going to wrap up the show at 11
Got it
o'clock.
on his 25th birthday. Hey, KG.
Shut up. At 11 o'clock, we wrap up the show with our Thursday dialogue. Today, I'm asking a question. What difference will France, Canada, and the UK's moves to recognize a Palestinian make? I mean, they are waking up to the reality. They attacked us when we went to the ICJ. I mean, there are some Republicans as well that are calling it a genocide. They're waking up now.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced because they're still talking about a two-state solution. And while there's some kind of possibility for that around the West Bank, what state is left in Gaza? Part of what the Netanyahu administration has been deliberate about in destroying Gaza and its people is to make sure that at whatever
nothing
point
left.
there's a peace concluded, Gaza won't be a part of it.
Doesn't exist anymore.
So what two-state? What state are they going to recognize? Where is it going to be?
So that's going to be our chat. I'll be speaking to the ambassador, the French ambassador to South Africa. I'll bring in our South African government representative as well and some analysts.
All right, Clement Manyathela between 9 and 12.
So we did a thing, a full commitment kind of thing. We've partnered with Sixt to bring worldwide to your doorstep. So you see how that's a serious thing, because that's what you deserve. We know you're the GOAT, so premium it is. Premium service, premium vehicles, premium you, premium us. Sani Sixt is all about adding extra to ordinary. Extra reach, extra countries, so you can be extra premium worldwide. Be the greatest of all time and rent Sani Sixt.
At the heart of the global conversation shaping the future, while Africa's voice matters more than ever. As Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 Summit, Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Fasten your seatbelts and get ready for an unmissable series. It's called Marked, and it's a gripping 6-part thriller that is out on Netflix today, and I'm told it's going to blow your mind. So it's the story of Babalwa, who is a cash-in-transit security guard who's pushed to the edge by desperation. Her daughter's life hangs in the balance, and her morals and her values are tested, and the lines between right and wrong begin to blur. Some fantastic actors. Clementine Musimane is part of the cast. Desmond Dube, Jerry Mufokeng, and of course, the role of Babalwa is played by the fantastic Lerato Mvelase, who joins us now on the line. A pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
What a role this is. This one sounds like one of those an actor dreams about when you start your career.
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny you're saying when you start your career. I actually feel like my career just started.
So tell me about playing Babalwa and the conflicts, the moral conflicts she faces.
Babalwa is an ordinary mother who's a church-going mom. She loves her husband. She's submissive. She loves and takes care of her child. You know, she's that mom that we all know, that we've met. I'm that mom. You know, she wears her pumps and a cardigan and a doek. She goes to church. And when we first meet her, that's all she is. You know, one might even discount her, you know, because there's not much to her besides just being a mom, until her child faces a health scare that is detrimental. Then we see the other side of her, which is dangerous.
And I suppose part of the conflict of the story is, what does she do? Can she make a little bit more money as a cash in transit security guard to help her child, or does she do the right thing and not intervene?
Yeah, what do you do as a parent, you know, in the system that we live in, where, you know, those that are privileged have options, they've got the resources and connections, you know, and they've got a chance at giving themselves and their loved ones an opportunity to survive. What does a parent like Babalwa, who's considered underprivileged or poor, do when she's in a situation like that? And what makes her position even more challenging is because she's a woman of faith. I mean, her base is the 10 Commandments. One shall not steal, kill, or commit adultery. And, you know, this shows how altruistic being a parent is. You know, you do the worst. You deviate from your own beliefs, from your own morals, from your own values, just to give your loved ones a chance at survival.
Gosh, you say your career, you feel, is just starting out. So what was it like working with Prajeri Mufokeng? I mean, he was a lecturer when I was at Wits maybe 30 years ago, and he's been around forever. There's, of course, others like Bongo Khoza, Akin Omotosho. I mean, what was that like working with this ensemble cast?
Let me start with the directors. Akin Omotosho, he is an amazing director. This man is technically clued, so he understands the world and what it needs to look like and feel like. He got it so right. He understands character. So he's a director that really challenged me. I mean, I've been in the business for 30 years, and I've got some tools, you know, in situations.
Your box, yeah.
Yeah, and he was saying no to most of them. And I was like, what does this man want me to do? And he said, I know you've got more. I know this woman. I know you can reach the moments, you can reach the emotions. I know you know her. And I suppose that's a privilege for me as an actress, because if you do something for so many years, you get used to it and it just becomes, you know, yet another job, another gig. But this was a different type of gig, because my acting muscle got stretched beyond, you know, my own imagination. And it was such an honor to work with somebody that allows you to grow in that way. And allowing myself to be a blank slate, you know, where I can sit with Ubabu Jerry and the conversation about the amount of work he's done. I mean, I've worked with him on a couple of productions. That man has such passion for what he does.
Wisdom.
And the energy, right? And the wisdom, the energy to still have, you know, that kind of passion after 50 or 60 years of working, you know? It's admirable.
Can I talk about your humility? Because the idea that you can come on this show and share growing after Mzansi, after Isibaya, after Home Affairs. I mean, so many projects that we know you for, I think is absolutely fantastic. It's a well-deserved character for you to play. It's out on Netflix today. Lerato Mvelase, thank you so much for your time.
Baba wethu wasemazulwini njengoba ngihamba endleleni yokufa sehlaselwa iba umalusi wami. Amen.
Amazing grace. Babala's the best of us. She's better than as Christians esifunda ngazo eBhayibhelini.
Mnumzana, njengoba wazi ukuthi izinto zinzima kakhulu lapha ekhaya. Besizocela nje i-loan
1.2 million for a surgery.
Kulo mhlaba esiphila kuwo
Siphila namabhubesi.
Impilo yengane yami isengcupheni.
There's nothing we can do. Nawe kusumele ube ibhubesi.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
Goodness me, that is the explosive trailer to Marked, a series premiering on Netflix today. It stars Lerato Mvelase, who we just spoke to. So if you're looking for something to watch, that's certainly one that promises to be quite riveting. And that's it for this edition of 702 Breakfast. We'll see you bright and early for the Friday edition. The Clement Manyathela Show starts now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The NPA in the Lusikisiki massacre case, where 18 people were killed in the Eastern Cape, is expected to lead evidence from its first witness today. 6 men are accused of shooting the group that gathered ahead of a ceremony in Gobozana village in September last year. The trial has been